Ancient gods in the sky, open up my third eye. Take a look, it's in the book, the Occult Book Club. They will go anywhere with texts so rare and knowledge to share. The Occult Book Club. They will say anything from pages of old and secrets untold. The Occult Book Club. The Occult Book Club. The Occult Book Club.
We're here after how long, Thomas?
It's been 47 years, 33 days.
Yes, it's been far too long. Let me update my... I gotta add some of the new hip meme sounds that the kids nowadays are doing. One of my favorite ones here is this one. Let's see. I'm definitely
This is going to be horrible.
There you go.
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it?
No, I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear that?
I didn't hear nothing.
No, dude.
Yep, you don't have your toys set up right.
What do I have to do?
I mean, I guess take another 3 years off and figure it out.
Yeah, I guess we're done here, boys. We're done here. All right,
Until next time.
No, seriously, you can't hear mine. You can't hear that?
I heard something. I heard the very beginning of something going, yep.
All right, whatever. We'll figure it out. Anyways, welcome back to another Occult Book Club. I'm Juan from the Juan Podcast, and we got Paranoid American, the gayest Freemason of them all, here with us from the Paranoid American Podcast, and we have the Occult Book Club. Yeah.
And I've got an actual book from the Occult Book Club, the first Occult Book Club book. And maybe at some point we can have an Occult Book Club book club.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Anyways, we're going to be talking about a book that we covered, which is a kind of a crazy book. It's more like a manual. We did this a while back, and I'd been reading the comments and going, hey, somebody said do a part 2 to this. We figured like, hey, instead of reading something over again and blah, 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 let's just do this instead of having to dive into something new and bring in an expert, bro. I have an expert today on the iLLUMINATi. He is known for iLLUMINATi toilets. He's known for iLLUMINATi dolphins. And he's going to be with us today, bro, as a guest, as a special guy. I think maybe the first. Is he the first Occult Book Club guest?
No, because we did the Occult Book Club on angels with, I'm blanking on the
you're
name.
right. Yeah, with, the professor guy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right. Well, we didn't give him that honor. But anyways, this guy's a cool guy. We're going to be diving into part 2 of the iLLUMINATi formula used to create an undetectable total mind control slave with none other than Banana Man himself. What's up, dude?
Yo, what up? It's Banana Man. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. I miss you so much, Homunculus. I miss you so much, Juan.
I miss
You're my
you too,
number
bro.
one.
I appreciate
You're my number
you, dude.
one.
Thank you for being with us here
I'm
today.
not the only one that misses you. Everyone misses you, and we are blessed to be in your presence after this long 47 years and 33 seconds.
Thank you, bro. Thank
Maybe
you.
I'll have less people emailing me too, like, yo, what's going on with Juan, bro? Is Juan okay? I haven't seen Juan in a minute. When's Juan coming back?
Yeah, I
And
went.
then, like, I look, they're messaging me, and I look, and it's like these dudes aren't even following me or even subscribed to me, but they're messaging me about. Well, the least you could do is at least give me a follow if you're going to be hitting me up to check in on Juan. Whatever.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
I'm not salty
bro.
about it.
I'm so
fucker.
sorry. I just, again, I mean, I needed to take a break. You know, I mean, Donut, you know about this. Thomas, maybe not you. No one really cares about you, Thomas. But Donut, you know about diving into this sort of stuff. Like, it messes with you mentally, and you just got to take a break and step back sometimes and just like chill out, right? So I had to do that, and I thought about not coming back, but then I was like, you know what? It's pretty fun. I like chilling with my homies and talking about the iLLUMINATi and weird stuff. So here we are. We're back, and it's going good.
Well, I like to say congratulations as well to Paranoid American for completing the translation of Lamp of Diogenes, which is written by the Illuminati founder, Adam Weishaupt. And in that book, he quotes the famous urine tax that money does not stink. And it's
that was such a wild coincidence too, because you just happened to be talking about this quote, and that day I just happened to have translated from German in this book, and the fact that you had brought it up and Adam Weishaupt of all people had said it, and I had just read it that one day, it felt like the Illuminati toilet came into full alignment that night.
It goes into toilet stuff when we're looking into Illuminati, going all the way back to ancient Rome and the Cloaca Maxima. Cloaca is the system. The Cloaca Maxima is the word system, where we get educational system. And covering Fritz Springmeier's book, who we gave a shout out in our comic book that we wrote on the Illuminati. Are you mind controlled by the Illuminati? I even got a podcast with him one time, carrying on that information into the technocraps of the toilets. It runs deep to even in the future, and the occult with people like Tracy. She wrote this book.
Hey, hold on, Donut, hold on, dude. We're not allowed to say that name because the walls have ears. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna censor that. Probably not, but I'm gonna censor that. But speak, dude. Okay. It's like you're tapped in, because right now I was just thinking about the book, the Genuflect book, where in that book, which you read it, Thomas, right?
I did. It was fascinating. Yeah. And by the way, I want to say that we just say TT whenever we need to mention them who shall not be named. The name is TT.
So TT's book, in that book, the building itself was collecting people's excretions. I mean, you remember that part of it, where they were collecting everyone's excretions and bodily fluids. You got to read the book to find out.
They're doing it now on society, even during the lockdowns, to see which sections of society is eating what. Are they pregnant? Are they sick? And all that. So it's very, very connected, as silly as it sounds.
What's the sperm count? And honestly, on a serious note from that, I think that they're going to be checking for microplastics.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I think that... do you believe in microplastics, Thomas? Are you a believer in microplastics?
I believe that each one of us has microplastics deep inside our hearts, if you really think about it.
Okay.
I hear that's one of the big reasons why the population's collapsing, is because of that.
It's making people stare on stuff.
And the Illuminati, right? Like, basically, it's the Illuminati that's behind all of it. So I'm glad that we have a manual that breaks it all down for us.
I still can't believe you can't hear my soundboard. That's wild.
I heard it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Anyways, so here we go. We last time we covered Fritz Springmeier. I know we didn't cover the full book because it's 558 pages long. It's almost 600 pages. And
we got the page like 188.
I think we did and again, I don't remember what we did, but we hit on the biggest things, right? Some of the greatest hits as far as like the earlier parts. But anyways, we're back here and we're going to go ahead and dive into it. And Thomas is going to guide us a little bit while I have this up on screen. And we're going to hit some of the more sensational parts of this book, because there's a lot of things that old Fritz brings up that he kind of doesn't really back up sometimes. And there's with extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Is that the saying? Or did I get that completely wrong?
If you're a Fed, then you require that kind of evidence, yeah.
So source, trust me, bro. And I think Fritz was like he was ranked high when it came to that. Hey, source, yeah. What is it? An undisclosed, declassified or classified informant or something like that. Sure.
Yeah, unconfirmed anonymous sources is his main source. So, and I've got a formula that'll break down. Here's how I want to do it, right? Because it took us 4.5 hours to not even get through 200 pages, and this thing's almost 600 pages. So instead of doing this for the next 8 hours, which I'm sure some people would be weird and they would listen to the whole thing too, but I think that I got a top 10 claims, and then I've got like a few different deep dives we can go down. We can just run it until the clock runs out, right? But yeah, let me just lead it with the top 10 claims that happened after the last video we did. So from pages 196 until the very end, These are the top 10 that I wrote down. Does this sound good?
Yeah, go ahead. And then just guide me as to where to go. And I'm adjusting.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, if you're like, stop, let's go into that one. Like, we can just go on to the pages. I got all the pages written down.
All right.
So
Yeah.
here's one of them. Is that the Atlanta Olympics were going to be a cover for a demon summoning ritual, and this one was written as a prophecy, like this was going to happen. And I guess the fact that it didn't happen doesn't necessarily invalidate what Fritz wrote. It shows that he got the message out to the White Hats just in time, that they were able to suppress the demonic ritual that was going to happen. So this takes place on page 243, and this is essentially, yeah. So what is your opinion? Do you think that the Olympics are just a cover for a demon summoning ritual, and maybe every year we just have to count on White Hats to sort of defeat it?
In my opinion, I would say that the Super Bowl is more of a, and I know Donut can probably talk about this too, where the Super Bowl is more a cult. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, in my opinion, or are the Olympics the ones that we should be paying attention to?
The thing is that these rituals are for different religious purposes. So the Super Bowl is more of a fertility, Ishtar goddess rite. When it comes to this FIFA World Cup that's going on, that's a bigger ritual for the world. But America, we don't really watch that. So we do watch football. And then the Olympics, it's its own type of Dionysian ritual last year. So they're just different religious ceremonies for ritual. And the Super Bowl is more, I would say, corporate, where it's about the advertising and the revelation of the method of a distant early warning system to bring in the new technology, so people are willing to embrace the new toilet technologies that are about to take over.
And I want to say too that I've been trying to trace the origin of a lot of the claims that Fritz makes in this, and in doing so, I feel like I also found some origins of William Cooper and Jordan Maxwell and like a lot of the OG claims. Because I guess part of it is like, who said this first? Who was the first one that made this claim? And everything after that is maybe an echo of that claim. So here's a name. If either of you guys have heard of Alexander Hislop. So this was a Scottish minister, and in the 1850s, he wrote a book called The Two Babylons. And he was making an argument that the Rome and essentially the West, that they were trying to put in the Antichrist and the beast and like all this sort of Book of Revelation sort of talking and assigning that. He literally said that the modern Christians were being tricked into worshiping Satan and all these ancient deities that had kind of been like an old switcheroo by the Catholic Church, but it was called the Two Babylons. And these claims where he's saying that people are being tricked into worshiping Nimrod and worshiping all these Babylonian deities. This is one of the core things that I remember from William Cooper, from Jordan Maxwell, and it's all over Fritz's work, like start to end.
So this was sort of a fight against the two religions of the two sects. Like,
it was, without going on too much of a tangent rabbit hole, but yeah, these
check it out.
Evangelist Protestants were kind of fighting the Catholic Church. So, and I believe this is how they elect the Pope, right? This is the Pope election right here that you're showing us.
No, this is
that looked like one of the.
This is the 90. This is the 96 Olympics.
They got a new pope. That's how it works.
No, this is the 96 Olympics opening ceremony. So this is what Fritz was talking about. And I got us put overlaid a little bit over it so that way we don't get
put some pasties over this thing.
Copyright stricken. But this is the ceremony that Fritz Springmeier mentioned in. Okay.
If he said that this was going to be a demon summoning ritual, I feel like that's been proven right.
Yeah.
All right, so check it out. So this is what he said. I want to read this. It also turns out that the name Saturn has been used for Satan for centuries by the occult. We've already heard this, the Saturn worship and blah, 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 all this stuff, right? We hear this over and over again, especially in our circles. So it goes, The ritual sacrifices to Molech was Saturn worship. The opening of the Eye of Saturn is the materialization of hordes of demons taking place during this time period. High-level Illuminati, who was that? Who will gather together in Atlanta in the summer of 96. Because when was this book published, Thomas?
94, I think.
Wow, okay, so the year I was born. So Atlanta in the summer of 96, under the cover of the 96 Olympics, will carry out high-level rituals to open up a large hole for the materialization of hordes of demons to complete their push toward a world dictator. Okay.
No, we're seeing that happen right now. Right now, that is like on the agenda, is the rise of fascism and whatnot.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, Thomas. I interrupted you while you were talking about the other guy with his book. Go ahead.
Well, with Alexander Hislop?
Yeah. Alexander
that was a little
Hislop.
bit earlier. That's I think the source of a lot of these original claims that were like modern society is being tricked into worshiping these deities unbeknownst to them. And then it started with the church. Yeah, it started with this concept where if you just went and followed the Catholic Church, then you were being misled. But now I think what Fritz does, he's got this formula where he takes a claim that already has a little bit of traction to it, and then he kind of modernizes it and he spices it up and he adds a anonymous source. Whether he finds it or manufactures it, we really won't be able to tell. And then he kind of just like puts it back out there for a newer audience, right? So I think that he almost makes like a secular version of a lot of this stuff. Now it's like a computer named Beast that's programming you instead of you having to believe in religion and think the beast is out to get you.
Yeah, and I think, right, a lot of these stories and these beliefs that we hear about, like, you know, we have Frazzle Drip and these urban legends, I guess you could call it, right, start somewhere. And it kind of traces back to some of these crazy... Now, I'm still on the fence about a lot of stuff. And what if these people are actually right, and to a certain extent, right? But everything originates somewhere. And I think that these urban legends that we hear about, especially in, you know, the high Illuminati circles, they have an origin like this, where it was like some guy, some minister, some church dude who was preaching about them worshiping demons and stuff like that, and it just kind of sort of just kept on going, right? I mean, that's pretty much.
And I'm sure he's not the first one that did it either. He heard someone say the same thing, and it gets a lot harder to trace it back. But at least when we find something in the 1850s, I mean, the farthest back we've personally traced anything was that one book from like the 1650s, right? And everything before that gets really, really hard to trace down. So the closer we can get to these specific types of claims that you're being tricked into worshiping all these pagan deities and that these are opening portals. This sounds like a 2020 version of a YouTube clip, right? But this is 1850s that we're talking. And now in Fritz's case, in the 1990s. So let me go to the next one.
Go.
Because the next one I think is even cool. Like these kind of escalate.
So it's from worst to best then, right? It's like
it's a little bit, it's a mix. It's just like these are the top 10 in no specific order, but this one's definitely one of my favorites.
All right, what page is it?
And it covers pages 226 to 232. And the general claim is that the Amish are a front for CIA assassins.
That's wild.
Right there. The top secret Amish front. So this is one of my favorite claims. It doesn't get crazy until like the aliens and the computers and stuff. But hear me out, right? Because the CIA has been known to employ lots of Mormons, and I think, what was it, Howard Hughes? He also hired exclusively Mormons to work for him security in Vegas because, A, he knew that they weren't allowed to drink, they weren't going to gamble, they weren't going to go philandering because they are, like, that was baked into, like, their thing anyways, right? They had a system for it. So he could trust them, and the CIA can trust the Mormons. So all Fritz is doing here is taking that very sound logic, and now he's just applying it to the Amish.
You see how he starts it off, bro? It will probably assist the reader to know that both of the authors have firsthand experience with the following information about the Amish. Hey, source, trust me, bro.
This is true. I think if you look up Fritz Springmeier's bio, I believe he began being raised Amish. So this one might have like a little bit of personal vendetta baked into it.
And Fritz, if you're listening,
Showed a
bro,
mugshot.
yeah. If you're listening, Fritz, we'd love to get you on the show, dude. We'd love to speak to you. We'd
Huge
love,
fan, seriously.
yeah.
And I was saying, maybe if this came up in the last one, but this book is probably the first conspiracy book that I ever read in like probably in 1998, 1997 or something, like a few years after this came out, because it was getting shared on some IRC channel or some weird, nerd network. And I remember opening this thing and reading it, and it was blowing my mind left and right.
So my boy did some time though, dude. On January 31st, 2002, he was indicted in the United States District Court in Portland, Oregon, in connection with on February 12, 2003, he was found guilty on one count of armed bank robbery in violation and one aiding and abetting in the use of semi-automatic rifle during the commission of a felony, blah, blah, blah. In November 2003, he was sentenced to 51 months in prison. Imagine if it was 33, that'd be crazy. 51 months in prison.
February 12th leaves 322 days remain until the end of year.
Really?
Yeah. You've got the skull and bones connection.
Okay.
Which is going to come up a few times because this is Fritz Springmeier.
He was imprisoned and was released from federal prison on March 25th, 2000. Does that day have any significance, don't it? March 20. I feel like it does.
About the spring equinox around then, but what would be interesting is his age, because with numerology, looking into like the different numbers, 322 and 43 are very much interconnected. So it'd be interesting if he was 43 or he was released when he was 43 and whatnot.
So he was born in 55 and he was in prison in 2003. So he was 48.
Okay, so scratch that.
Give or take, 48, give or take. Right.
So here, and this claim too about the Amish CIA assassins, which is fun to like. I'll find any reason to just say that over and over again. But the Amish CIA assassins is actually based in some kind of historical record. So in 1940, there was this thing called the Selective Service and Training Act. And anyone that had opted out of the war because they took conscientious objector, if you're not familiar with that, it's when you basically tell the government, the military, I'm morally opposed to war or spiritually opposed. So like I refuse to fight in any kind of war. That's a conscientious objector. And this included a whole bunch of Quaker churches and Mennonites and Amish and a whole bunch of different organizations that called themselves peace churches. And when they did that, they were given this opportunity to do something called work of national importance, which basically meant like, I'm going to help my country in a way that doesn't involve the war, to show that. And it was sort of like a, hey, if you're not going to go and someone for us, you're sure as hell going to do something for us, right? And if you didn't agree to it, then maybe the government doesn't let you have that plot of land so easily. So anyways, 12,000 people, a lot of Amish and Mennonites, they sign up for this thing in the 1940s. And they go through all these weird science experiments. One of them was the Minnesota starvation experiment. They did malaria infection, hepatitis, typhus, lice, colds, pneumonia, frostbite, survival experiments. And all of this happened to these Amish people. So what Fritz is doing is he's taking this very real medical / military research that was done on the Amish and kind of stretching it to like, and while they were doing that, they got sheep dipped and sort of turned into CIA assassins.
Whoa, dude, did you go ahead?
Oh, just the word ish means man in Hebrew. So like the ish, and is nation. So I don't know if you looked into what does this word mean, Amish, because ish, Jordan Maxwell dived quite a bit into.
Yeah, weren't they full Why aren't they just Amish?
Yeah, they're just ish. They're ish, not full So not
So
go full bro.
Check this out. So the Amish are the most pacifist. Pacifistic.
Yeah, them being the conscientious objectors.
Pacifistic, all right, people. So the Illuminati / intelligence agencies have placed some of their best program assassins behind the front of being Amish. The front is real. They are Amish. While many of them, some were Illuminati children switched at birth to give the programmers better bloodlines to work from. Some Amish women in cult families have let the Illuminati impregnate them with stronger bloodlines. Many N-word Nazi And many,
Oh no!
many,
I just saw them what they are, National Socialists.
many of the N words, not those, but you know which ones, bloodlines were hidden after World War II under the Mennonite/Amish cover. Whoa, okay. I could
didn't know that.
I could kind of get behind that one, right? Like they were hiding in plain sight, right? The Mennonites and some of the more progressive Amish adopt many children, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, he's basically saying who's gonna expect an Amish assassin? Like the Amish are pacifists; they won't even fight in war. So of course the Amish guy is not going to be the one that takes you out. And then if you look into it, it was basically an Amish guy that shot JFK.
Oh my
Really?
God. Oh.
No, I just made that up, but that's basically what Fritz was saying.
See,
Wait, hold on, dude. No. Haven't I heard that before though? Hasn't somebody said that? Something about the Amish and JFK and stuff like that?
I mean, I think someone said something about everything at this point. So
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
and Dwight, he's very. It seems like he's Amish in that show, and he's connected to the Boond, which is
Yeah.
the National Socialist. So I wonder if there's.
I feel like he's like non-denominational Amish. Like he wouldn't put a name to it. He's He's not Amish.
Yeah.
So here's the next one.
It's interesting because you got Amon Ra, you know. So I don't know.
The other one is there's a giant beast supercomputer called Big Bertha at Area 51 that can talk in 6 languages. And that last part was like super impressive in 1996, right? When this book came out.
Because we have
that a
ChatGPT
computer
now.
could talk 6 languages, but I guess it's a little bit less impressive now. But and Beast, it was a
What
anagram
page?
for something. What was it? I sent it to you. I can't remember what it was though.
What's the page number?
This is on page 466.
Uh-oh. So Beast, you texted it to me. It stands for, I'll tell you right now.
I'm looking it up
And
too.
specifically, he says that Big Bertha, the beast computer at Dreamland at Groom Lake, which is what Fritz calls Area 51, and that Big Bertha was named after Illuminati matriarch Bertha Krupp, and that the computer talks in 6 languages.
Bro, we talk a lot of stuff, dude. We text a lot.
Do you say beast as an anagram, like the words mixed around?
Or sorry, not anagram. It was an acronym for something.
Oh, okay, acronym. Yeah, that's what I thought. But even
It was like battle something assisted,
even
like
the
software tech.
But the anagram's interesting too because you got Beat headphones, like Beats could be Beast, and it has the 666 on the Beat Dre Beats headphone.
And I'm looking. So
Battle
Bertha
Engagement Area Simulator Tracker. Is that it? That's
Sorry,
not-
say that again.
Beast Battle Engagement Area Simulator Tracker.
So it was like a military simulation sort of software that they were running at Area 51, and he claimed that it was named after Big Bertha, and Bertha was some huge, I guess, German lady, German Empire. I don't.
So right here. So there are 9 secret beast computers of the New World Order. At the time this was written, Big Bertha is the nickname of the beast computer located at the secret military installation called Dreamland at the secret Groom Lake, Nevada test site. Is that Area 51?
That's what he says. Area 51. Yeah.
Papoose Lake is referred to as S4. The other super secret facilities in the area named S286 and S66. This area has become the Illuminati's prime programming facility for turning out monarch slaves. And the monarch slaves which are turned out from this area have turned out to be the worst basket cases. Really. They're the worst basket cases, but here you are. And don't you think of these places were so smart that you wouldn't know about them? Or so secret that you wouldn't know about them? Like, I mean, maybe
you didn't know about it until Fretz told you about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, for this time, right? Because like right now we have so much information available to us. When we're reading back on this book from '96, it's like, bro, really? But I mean, we have freaking ChatGPT that can translate freaking 15th century homunculus textbooks and all this other stuff. And then here this guy's freaking out about a computer that can speak 6 languages. You know what I mean?
the more context in the Big Bertha, the realize it's called Big Bertha is because that was named after this lady that was in the family, and the in World War One, the Krupp company is the one that made all the large mortars that basically bombarded Belgium and France, and those were known to become Big Bertha, like those artillery shells, I guess. So this is a reference to the fact that it's more like war technology that he's saying that the Illuminati is involved in. Which I guess, when you're painting with broad strokes like Fritz does, I feel like you can get things right enough to be like, yep, got that right, even if it comes with a whole lot of baggage that you have to ignore. You know what I mean? Like for example, the Atlanta Olympics. You can convince me that somebody was trying to summon demons. The only thing is that it wasn't made obvious on TV, and there wasn't any news reports that was like demons proven real, demons take over Atlanta, Olympics. So then it's seen as like, oh, he was wrong about that. But we don't really know, right? We can't really, how much of this stuff can we disprove?
Also, with the lake that it's at, Lake Papoose, you got Lake Geneva where CERN's built. And I'm seeing a lot of connections to water, lakes, and stuff like that to the technologies, as AI is powered by the water. So they're moving a lot of these AI places for the water. So it being located at Lake Papoose for that earlier technology of whatever computer they're working with. China, they cool down a lot of the systems of the data centers that get heated up by placing it in the ocean. And so just something to think about when it comes to these locations being on lakes or on water. It's something to think about.
So I want to read this part here real quick. So it goes, in observing the operations of the Illuminati, it has been seen that telephone area codes used as part of a mind control slave's code. We do not understand everything about their codes, but it does tie into with other things that are happening. Every person in the world has been assigned an 18-digit tracking number, which consists of 3 groups of 6 numbers. The first 3 numbers assigned in the Beast computer to everyone are 666. The next is one's national code. The U.S. the national code is 110. Then the next 3 numbers are you telephone area code, so your telephone area code. Then finally your 9-digit social security number. The code is 666 plus nation code plus telephone area code plus social security number equals Beast ID for an individual.
Here, quick question though, because as I was reading this, the first thing I thought of was like, what if you got 2 phone numbers? Or what if you change your phone number? Right? Like now is there like, because I've gone through like 6 or 7 phone numbers, does that mean I've got like 6 or 7 Beast IDs in the Beast supercomputer?
No, because they only give you the numbers that they had already assigned to you, bro. So it's only the illusion that you're getting a new phone number, but the whole time it was always assigned to you no matter what, bro. Because
I've always had the 7 different Beast IDs.
Yes, dude. You see how this works?
I was born with them.
Yeah, dude. So he gets into Unix. Programmers decided to use the Old English word for daemon. These are computer processes which work secretly behind the scenes and are given actual demonic names, some corresponding to actual names of historically also known demons such as Asmodeus. Asmodeus is also a demon which is placed into many monarch slaves. So, dude, like this is what I love about Fritz Springmeier's work, where you can just sit down and like it's like a manual, right? I'm not gonna call it a Bible because it's not the Bible, but it's like a manual. You just open it up and you can just start reading, and it's just like, what is this guy on? Is he on something like?
It's so entertaining, man. It is such an easy read, even though it's like 600 pages. But the problem, by the time you get to the end of it,
you're fried.
If I were to be like, okay, now what's the book about? It would take you it's basically you have to recite the entire book to somebody to explain to them what this thing's about.
Yeah. And then you got all the 6 7s everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, oh, well, it's a book about the Atlanta Olympics and that the Amish are CIA master slaves, but also the Unix operating system and this Beast supercomputer, right? It's everything at all times.
It sounds really impressive, right? Beast computer. It's almost like the Satan telescope that they had at the Vatican, allegedly that they had at the Vatican, right? You hear
Lucifer stuff they think they have out here in Arizona, the Lucifer telescope that I think the Vatican owns.
Can there's a line here too I want to read out. It says, both the Unix system and Monarch programming creates children by spinning the child. The child spins off, and when the child is finished, that's all true. That's actually how the Unix operating system works. I mean, how all operating system works.
Hold on. What? What do you mean? So Unix is an operating system, right?
Yeah, so Unix is basically what all of the big corporations and systems used, and then someone came out with Linux. Linus Torvalds came out with Linux, which is the version that pretty much most websites and stuff run on. And then you've got, your Androids and your Windows and your Mac and all that. But Linux was one of the OGs, and the terminology that you use within Linux, which is derived from Unix, that's what you call a process. When you double click, on your computer, you double click an app and it launches whatever. Technically, that's a child process. And when you close a window, what do you do with it? You're that app. You're a child. So the entire concept is baked into the Unix operating system.
So what you're telling me is that whoever is using any sort of computer is actually conducting occult rituals every single time they start a process, they end it.
I think yes, but you can also flip that on its head, and you can say that a typical thing that you were known that you were going to do, someone turned that into a magical ritual. So I don't know if that means that you're doing the magic ritual. If someone already knew you were going to, if I was like, hey, every time Juan ties his shoes, I'm going to consider that a magic ritual going forward. Does that make it a magic ritual? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's like what came first, the chicken or the homunculus?
But then again, I don't call tying my shoes, which is what you call it in software.
Should we be censoring that? I've been out of the game for a while. How strict is YouTube now with all this sort of
They got the honeypot wide open now, so they'll let you publish it, and they'll probably just pop you for it in 7 years from now.
Okay. Either way, I'm going to censor that from the YouTube crowd. If you want to catch the uncensored, you know where to go. So, okay. All right. Anything else on this chapter of Unix? And he's just going on and on.
I'm ready for the next. The next one's kind of a big one. And at its surface, the first few times that I read Fritz's work, and dude, I've been reading these Chick tracks for a long time too. The Jack Chick little ones, and they're kind of on the same page. And that's the reason that I brought that guy up that wrote the Two Babylons, because he's sort of like a prototype for Fritz and for Jack Chick. So here's a claim that both of those guys made, Jack Chick and Fritz make, that Billy Graham is a secret 33rd degree Mason, a monarch programmer, and a secret Satanist, and that he's tricking the entire country into becoming Satanists. And the few times that I read that, I was like, dude, I don't even know who Billy Graham is. I'm not sure I care. He couldn't have been that important if I don't know who he is, right? Well, it turns out that it actually is kind of a big deal, right? So the context that I understand is that Billy Graham was based on an earlier guy named Billy Sunday. And not like they're fictional characters or anything, but Billy Sunday was one of the United States' biggest sort of evangelist preachers. That he went out and talked to, I think, 30,000 people over an 8-week period. And this is Billy Sunday I'm talking about. That Billy Sunday preached to 30,000 people and converted 3,000 to become Christian or something. This was known as the biggest American evangelist event in history. So Billy Graham comes along, and Billy Graham is, 100 years later. So he's a century after Billy Sunday, and Billy Graham is seen as the next version of Billy Sunday. And I'm like, all right, cool. I still don't care. But then I started looking into all of the actual supporters of Billy Graham, and it was all Skull and Bones members.
Oh, well, okay. So what page is this?
It starts right where we ended last time. Starts on page 197, and he goes on about this for 30 or 40 pages. So on 197, he starts talking about, Billy Graham, mind control front. And the premise is that he's acting as though he's going to bring all of these people to Jesus, but really he's bringing them to the same pagan gods and, CIA sort of overlings.
All right, so you looked into him and you said that the circle that he was a part of was full of Skull and Bones members.
So his main one of his main supporters, for example, was Henry Luce. It was also William Hearst, and Fritz in his book he goes on at length about William Hearst and Patty Hearst, and Hearst basically also owned a lot of media publications. But Henry Luce is even more interesting to me than William Hearst is, because Henry Luce is he's so central. He was in the Century Club, so that connects him to the Morgan's mushroom expedition with the guy that they sent to Mexico that discovered like salvia and magic mushrooms and everything. That was through the Century Club. And then when he came back to the States, he gave his findings directly to Morgan Jr. and to Henry Luce. And he knew Henry Luce through the Century Club, but Henry Luce is also a Yale Skull and Bones member, and he ran Time Life magazine, and he takes these findings about magic mushrooms, and he's the one that makes the term magic mushrooms and puts it out into like Reader's Digest or whatever it was for like housewives to learn about. So this, I'm only pointing out that one example because Henry Luce literally had the power to make something interesting to the rest of the world or not if he just published it. And William Hearst, when Billy Graham started making his rise, he literally told everyone that worked for him that he wants to puff Billy Graham, as in like let's promote this guy, let's puff him up a little bit. And Henry Luce also said that. So now you've got two of the largest publications in this country, but in the world basically, that are both aligned to push Billy Graham. And Henry Luce isn't necessarily an evangelist or anything. He's not religious. So there's some other reason that these two guys would want to be pushing Billy Graham. And that's what Fritz Springmeier is ultimately getting at.
Henry Luce, Knights of Malta, Time Magazine, Life Magazine, Sports Illustrated, and his stamp that he has a 32 behind him, which goes into the Rose Compass that the Smithsonian uses. So even if when these people pass away, think about how powerful Time Magazine is today, or Sports Illustrated with the different agendas that it does. And even the word loose, if I could get schizo with it, with toilets, you go to the loo, and is the loo connected to Lucifer?
And let's not forget what Skull and Bones is known for, right? So this guy was, right, part of it, of the Skull and Bones. And let's not forget what happens in the Skull and Bones. What's that one famous preacher? It wasn't another preacher that was like what George Bush did at the Skull and Bones ceremony where he had a bunch of men on him?
Well, these cults are big.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Thomas?
Three versions of that, of the rumors with that. So one of them is that somebody lies in a coffin and recounts their history and anything embarrassing that ever happened to them. Then there's an escalated version of that where as they're doing that, the rest of the members are standing around jerking off on the person in the coffin because somehow that makes it more occult or whatever. And then there's either another adjacent ritual or one that like is on top of this called the obscene rite. And this one ranges from they eat a human pineal gland while they're doing all of this, or that they eat a human adrenal gland while they're doing all of it.
And look at his nickname. You saw his nickname. Henry Luce was Baal.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, whatever. Show me that on Snopes before I believe that. Come on.
And then George H.W. Bush was Magog.
Yep, that's actually all true. Isn't that? See, this is the kind of thing, though, bro, that in 1997 or whatever, when I found this book for the first time, this iLLUMINATi manual by Fritz Springmeier, I'm reading this stuff, and none of that sounds real, right? And the first time that I actually started, like, reading deeper and finding books about this, and it's like, wait, Bush's name in Skull and Bones... that was real, and his name really was Magog, and that Henry Luce's name was Baal, and Henry Luce is the linchpin for where like the psychedelic revolution came from, and also like Time Magazine and anyone that makes the cover of Time like it all goes through this one guy.
Dude.
And now here he is pushing up Billy Graham. So when Fritz says there's smoke, sometimes I believe there might be fire.
That's the funny part about it, right? And Luce also sounds like Lucius Trust. You remember that company that they were
Alice Bailey, yeah, of course.
Yeah, dude. Go ahead, Donut.
The quotes are interesting. I found a new one. It's not new, but it's old, but it's new to my research of the beggar's benison, where you would have them all into a plate, and it's very connected to Scotland, and the kings and queens going all the way back to the pharaohs with the red hair, where they would have red hair of the mistresses put on a wig, and there was different sects of this masturbation cult that was very big. It was the people that were the judges of the time. They had a lot of power, and it went pretty international, and they just broke off into different cults, right? So you have Skull and Bones and Lock and Key. So there's different ones, but at the end of the day, they're both at Yale. It's sort of the same thing. So it's something I've been researching, the debauchery and the importance of tying it back to the excrement and the different types of fluids that people use for ritual. So, I mean, we're not in, so we don't know what they're doing. It's probably even weirder than what we're reading, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, and this is pretty, how you said, Thomas, like where there's smoke, there's fire. And he does throw out a lot of interesting points. But do we know if Billy Graham was Mason or not?
Is that where we get the graham cracker?
So this is always my what about the cracker?
The graham cracker?
So they're doing like an unholy Eucharist, a black mass with a graham cracker.
When I hear graham, I think of graham crackers.
Yeah. I think so. Here the official line that's been given to me by the Freemasons. So I'm not allowed to deviate from this, but it's essentially that the Freemasons love to promote the members that are, even if they're notorious, they like to promote that because it brings more members and more interest. So it's very rare for someone to be accused of a Freemason and they say, no, I'm not. And Freemasonry doesn't come out and be like, yeah, no, we're not associated with them. Usually what happens if someone gets outed, Freemasonry as a whole is like, yep, those are one of ours. And if that interests you, you should come and join a lodge and spend money and give us your annual dues or whatever. Like that's usually how it goes. There would be very little reason to be a secret private Mason. The whole point is to do it in public.
Do you think this is a guy who sold his soul? I mean, is there anything behind those eyes? Look at that guy.
Man, one of those pictures sure did look like it had a Masonic compass, even though I know it's just like a little tripod off to the side of them. But
this one?
If you go down, there was another black and white one on the left. Yeah, right there. Just kind of has like a little Masonic compass sort of feel to it.
I got the graham cracker image that's quite symbolic.
You want to pull it up?
Chat. Yeah. It goes
so
share your screen.
Before this?
I've heard the name, but I never knew how deep this guy was in the connections.
I always thought it was like a black soul singer or something, like a Baptist singer. I didn't realize it was this old dude.
Look at this guy, bro. You think he's seen some stuff?
100%. He's seen the Illuminati do these things.
You want to share your screen, Donut?
I put it in the private chat.
Let me see here. There we go.
It's just the Nabisco symbol that Jordan Maxwell talked about.
Inner seal. That's like isn't that the seal of Satan with Lucifer? It looks similar, right?
Is this AI?
This is on Wikipedia, so
it's Wikipedia, yeah. Bro.
It's Wikipedia. Which is AI.
Bro, graham crackers are so good though, right?
Graham crackers, Illuminati agenda.
Yeah.
I don't think Billy Graham has anything to do with graham crackers.
What does the s'mores actually symbolize? Doing a ritual around a fire, burning the s'mores.
They're called cakes of light, okay? That's what they're called. You got it right.
The mystery of filth.
And
it's not a s'more. That was actually poop.
Yeah, it was poop and semen.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know, I've been looking into the use of bodily fluids for ritual purposes because I think I'm going to do an episode with Donut soon about the Illuminati toilets, and I've been looking into that, and there is people And there are stories of people animating gods from filth, if you get what I mean. And I've got some stuff on
Dude,
there. So.
with prices the way they are right now, you kind of have to.
Well, even Ezekiel bread is quite interesting in my toilet research. You know how that brand is everywhere, and it's connected to the scriptures. Ezekiel 4:9, God commanded, I think, Ezekiel to cook above poop, and he didn't want to do it, so God was like, all right, cook over horse poop or something like that. It's connected to something like that. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Text, yeah.
I mean, all of these are just examples, but I think basically of the same thing that Fritz is talking about, where even if like the type of bread that you're buying from the grocery store, it could be secretly tricking you into worshiping Satan and you don't even know it. And I think that a lot of that is kind of what he's getting at, that his whole manual, because like, who cares if there's some underground base under Area 51 and they're programming people and they're yada, yada, yada. But then it's like, nah, bro, if you're using Unix and if you're voting for Henry Luce or if you're listening to Billy Graham or if you don't suspect the Amish of being assassins, then you're kind of feeding into the overall plan.
So you were right, Donut. It goes here, the Lord said, in this way the people of Israel will eat defiled food among the nations where I will drive them. Then I said, not so, sovereign Lord. I have never defiled myself from my youth until now. I have never eaten anything found dead or torn by wild animals. No impure meat has ever entered my mouth. Very well, he said, I will let you bake your bread over cow dung instead of human excrement. He then said to me, son of man, I am about to cut off the food supply. Yeah, bro. So it is true. Like he was talking about.
Is that what kosher is, Donut? If you cook it over cow poop instead of human poop?
No, but so we have Ezekiel bread, and we're just like at all the stores. And through the toilet research, I stumbled upon this, and I thought it was interesting.
That is fun. No, anyone that eats Ezekiel bread, you should at least know why it's called Ezekiel bread. It has to do with cooking over human poop.
Is this kosher, Donut?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it is kosher.
It didn't sound 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's kosher, it has that
The U
like, symbol. Yeah, the U or the V or the K.
Oh, the V too. The V.
You know
another
what's
one?
interesting that I just learned today? That Kabbalah with a K is like the Hebrew Kabbalah, but with a Q, it's from the Quran, and with the C, it's from
Christian.
like Christian.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there's Kabbalah, and Kabbalah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Where you been at, bro? Didn't you look into all this stuff?
I'm not old enough to study Kabbalah and the Jewish rites. I think you have to be 40 or something.
Really? That's lame.
At least the ancients did. But
that's when the Masons started teaching me. Yeah, I can vet.
It's too complicated for me. Yeah.
On at like 12:01 on my 40th birthday, I was actually kidnapped by my local lodge, and they brought me to the 32nd degree chamber, and they taught me Kabbalah, and I couldn't sit for a week.
Yo, so check this out. We're talking about the truth, right? We do not want to clarify many issues. We do want to help we do want to clarify many issues. We do want to help the truth seeker, but the co-authors personally have no battle to win except that the truth be brought forth. Okay, so it's all about the truth, bro, but with a capital T.
And look at Billy Graham's deception is one of the greatest deceptions that has ever been perpetrated. Listen to the scale of this. Some might argue making Benedict Arnold and the Trojan horse pale in insignificance. So they're literally saying that Billy Graham is bigger than the Trojan horse that everyone has heard of for thousands of years, right?
So is there anything else to this one, or do you want to move on to the next one?
The next one actually comes right at the tail end of this. It starts on page 240 and they go to 243. And here's where Donut can shine, because he's talking about how Saturn really meant Satan, and that Satan is an anagram of Santa. So that here's another example where your children are being taught to worship Satan because we tricked you. We shifted the letters around, and now every time your kid prays to Santa, oh please Santa, bring me this, they're literally saying, dear Satan, bring me these material possessions. Now that's, and let me, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, the author of the Two Babylons, Alexander Hislop, he said this exact same thing too. He basically said that Halloween and Christmas had been co-opted by Satanists and that they were tricking you into worshiping Satan, even though you thought you were doing some Christian holiday, which is, in my opinion, objectively true, right? Like even the word Halloween means All Hallows Eve, but it has nothing to do with All Hallows Eve, which was the Christian name for an old pagan ritual. So that like the dude is on point and Fritz is right to call it out.
Yeah, so, and it also goes back to Saturnalia as well. That was around the exact same time, around December 25th. And so we go back to astrotheology and just the stars and the different cults throughout time. I even heard that Satan the word itself goes all the way back to Iran, and the word Satan in the Jewish is the adversary. So it's different. So the word Saturn and all that, it goes back quite a bit. And with the hexagon of Saturn is symbolic. So that's why everyone says, oh, it's Saturn, the Star of David. They're like, oh, it's Saturn worship, it's Saturn. But then you say, well, look at the cross and look at all these other symbols. It all goes back to different symbolism that goes back to the stars. And it's interesting. Even the Islamic symbol of the star and the moon goes into Venus. That's what Jordan Maxwell was talking about too. And I think that stuff's really interesting. And the Star of David was utilized also with the Templars. It was a Templar symbol too. It's
yeah, and didn't David also, or King Solomon at least, control demons and built one of the temples using demons? And
yeah, they call it Seal of Solomon too. It's got a bunch of different names, and also it predates even the original like Jewish usage of it that's recorded, right? Like even they had discovered it and brought it from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like the Hindus have it. It's just like these different. It's really interesting. All the symbols.
There's a line here too. I just have to read it. It says that Freemasonry teaches about Hiram Abiff, and it turns out when we study the Hiramic legend of Freemasonry's best philosopher that we learn who Santa Claus is. I've been trying to figure out exactly how that connection gets made. And he talks about it a little bit more and after that, but I don't remember Santa Claus ever coming up in any of the degree rituals. But
because it's veiled, bro. Like, you're not supposed to really know.
Yeah, like I feel like I have to go back through. I gotta go back watch.
It's
the
hidden.
Degree
It's
to
symbolic. It's hidden. It's the mushroom.
Yeah, Santa's like hiding behind like one of the pillars, and he like pokes out at one point.
It's the Amanita muscaria mushroom. It's the symbol.
Santa is a scrambling of Satan. Anyway, the Hiramic legend goes like this.
Anyway.
Yeah. According to Freemasonry, great expert on the mystery religion Saturn, the old man who lives at the North Pole and brings with him to the children of men a sprig of evergreen, the Christmas tree, is familiar to the little folks under the name of Santa Claus, for he brings each winter the gift of a new year. Part of the symbols are displayed to the initiated, but he is intentionally led astray by false there you go, dude. You're being led astray by false interpretations. Masonry conceals its secrets from all except the adepts, the sages, and the elect, and uses false explanations for its symbols to mislead those deserving to be misled. You deserve to be misled, Thomas.
This whole time, bro, they've been tricking me into worshiping Santa, and
this is according to the great Freemason Albert Pike in his book Morals and Dogma. Did we cover that? We haven't covered that. No. Morals and
I've
Dogma?
read
He
it.
says
Let me
that?
just tell you, if you thought some of the books that we've read so far were hard to get through, that one is a doozy, man.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many books that are like like so supposed to be like sibling books that you read along with Morals and Dogma because of how much of a pain it is to read.
I believe that. And I mean, we've read some boring books. Let's be honest, bro. Like
At least it's in English, yeah. But and look, your homeboy even calls out Alice Bailey on this same exact page, talking about how
Lucius
Saturn
Trust,
is
right?
the Lord of Karma.
yeah, he brings up Lucius
Father
Trust here.
Time. In the Squid Games, that movie where it's like a big sacrifice, the Father Time symbol connected to Christmas is connected to that show at the end of season 1. It's on Christmas, and the guy is like all old. There's like always symbols of Christmas, Saturn. He was in the 7th floor, which is like 7th heaven. There's a lot of like deep meaning. And the interesting thing about symbols is the different meanings within just one symbol. So the ancients, one symbol could have meant maybe 10 different things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also an interesting way to look at.
Yes. So
I don't know if I can disprove this, man, because if Fritz is basically trying to say that everyone is being, again, tricked into worshiping Satan because Satan is Santa or Saturn, and Freemasons are also worshiping Saturn, and Saturn represents
Santa is
materialism, and he represents time. It does seem like those are the things that we do currently worship. So I don't know if we can disprove him on this either.
Yes, but get it right, dude. Santa is Satan. He's a cover for saying how you're saying materialistic.
Or is Satan Santa?
And Santa, this Santa guy, Saint Nick, he was first skinny, and then they made him plump with the Coca-Cola company.
It's an inversion, bro. That's all they do. They invert things.
And it's they got other kind of Santa Clauses too, like
and you know what's interesting? That didn't they recently find grave? They recently found his grave, if I'm not mistaken, and like it just came out in the news recently. Let me find it here. But it's interesting because for a long time.
But there's a catch.
Yeah, there's a catch. Hold on, I see.
There's always a catch.
This is December 5th, 2025. After years of excavation, the leader of the archaeological expedition at the Church of St. Nicholas in Demir, Turkey, announced this week that her team has found a sarcophagus that may contain the body of St. Nick, a discovery that could muddy the... Because what's interesting was that... Have you guys ever heard of manna?
Yeah, manna from the it's the mushrooms.
So
it's the food on the ground from the Israelites, right?
Nope, Snopes. Now we know we're getting into the real truth.
Shut your mouth.
Capital T.
Shut your mouth. So there was already a tomb that they had found that they've been drinking so it excretes this milky substance that they call it manna, okay? And they sell this stuff in look at this hand-painted manna bottle, icon image St. Nicholas. So they had said previously that they knew where this guy was buried, and his tomb is leaking some white milky substance that they package and sell, and people go there to get, I guess, this stuff put on them because they believe it's got this power from this saint. But then they just found it. They officially found his tomb a few months back. So whose bone juice have they been drinking this whole time, bro?
Well, so the manna goes all the way back to the scriptures. I was just listening to a podcast on this.
Look, from 1980 onwards, the manna is formally extracted May 9th, the Feast of the Translation. So whose manna have they been extracting this entire time if that wasn't even the right tomb?
This is just another example of how Satan deceives people, I think.
Whose juice have they been... They've been buying this whole time, bro. Oh, St. Nick's juice, bro.
It's the marshmallow white cream.
Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness. The manna of Saint Nicholas of Bari. So let me find a picture of this thing.
The manna is the miraculous edible substance described in the Bible that God provided to sustain the Israelites during the 40 years of wandering in the desert following the Exodus.
There it is, bro. Look at that. The Saint Nicholas and Myra, the original tomb. So again, I don't know whose juice they've been drinking, but I mean, you get a refund for that kind of thing? Like, what do you do? Like, hey, dude, you've been selling me the wrong juice this whole time. It wasn't actually St. Nick's. It was some random dude that got buried there.
You got
That's actually good news.
The USDA grade manna.
If it has to be inspected by at least one person wearing a hairnet.
We got the Monsanto's manna, the Monsanto.
But also the silver lining is that anyone that was expecting St. Nick's bone juice to cure them of something and it didn't work, that's why it was not the right
wrong one, dude. You got to go back now.
You got to go back. It was like 3 stores down to the right, and then you drink that bone juice.
Well, Speaking of different funny juices, the yellow soup, which is the poop tea, the yellow tea, is the healthy feces from a healthy person. You drink it, and it makes you healthy.
What? Is that, dude? Hold on.
No, it's not. But it's ancient Chinese
Ancient Chinese secret,
and it's now coming out on the big articles. Kind of like how microdosing has been popularized so much. Microdosing feces is the next move.
No.
Oh yes.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Thomas, what's the next talking point? We're not going to tell people to eat their butt juice.
Don't do it, because it has to be like that's like the stupidest thing to do.
This is something that like Fritz would be warning us about. They're going to be like, in 30 years, they're going to try and trick you into drinking the yellow tea, and don't do it. And I believe them.
I spent 3 months, reading and researching the divine excrement. So my mind is filthy right
All
now.
right. Next up then.
What page?
Page 492. So this is towards the getting towards the end of the book. And the specific claim is that Hillary Clinton is a 6th level Illuminati witch and the literal Wicked Witch of the West from Frank Baum's Oz.
Facts.
Right here. So, for a while, even Kansas had an Oz theme to their license plate. Land of Oz. Really? Oh, we're gonna have to look this up. Hillary Clinton, a 6th level Illuminati witch and sadistic monarch slave handler, received a witch's hat in anticipation that she would be called the Wicked Witch of the West, and that Mary Matalin, who married Clinton's top campaign advisor James Carville, had a photograph of Hillary Clinton as the Wicked Witch of the West on her wall with the caption, "I will get you, my pretty, and your little dog too." The witch's hat and the caption both are popular with these people associated with the White House because they are so rich in triple and quadruple meanings. The deadliest meaning is that the monarch slaves that service Hillary and Bill Clinton have Wizard of Oz programming. Hillary is really the Wicked Witch of the West to those poor beta slaves. The constant bumping into Wizard of Oz paraphernalia or pictures of it helps focus the slave's mind onto their Wizard of Oz programming. MGM Grand recently built a multi-million-dollar pyramid complex with a theme park which is based on the Wizard of Oz and the Alice in Wonderland themes. The hotel at the MGM Grand is the world's largest, 5,000 rooms, which shows that mind control is a big business.
Because that's where they made all their money, was on the mind control part. It wasn't on anything else.
I went to that.
So, okay. There's a lot to unpack here because he said, I feel like I've seen a picture of Hillary Clinton as a witch.
Well, that's just any picture of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and the word Mary Magdalene sounds like Mary Magdalene, sort of.
Is this the one that he's talking about?
That looks like the right time period.
Right?
I will get you, my pretty.
Well, even Toto, that's the name of the Supreme Toilet.
What is this?
You're not wrong, man.
Toto the dog that she wants to capture.
Wait, hold on. Slow down. Okay. Let's break this down, dude. Before I blow my mind too hard. I don't want to blow my mind too hard. All right, so we have Hillary Clinton, and you said that in The Wizard of Oz, there's a dog, and the name's dog's Toto.
Yeah.
Yes, Toto, who is Thoth when you connect it to Hermes, Mercury.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Toto in the Aleister Crowley deck, if you look at the Thoth deck, the way he spells Thoth in Japanese is how you spell Toto or the Toto toilets. It's the exact same thing. So
yeah,
it's
and isn't this?
It's the messenger, the Mercury, the messenger of the fluids.
And isn't this the dog that?
And she died on the toilet.
Isn't this the dog that also is? Isn't there like a sunscreen where it's pulling the pants down of like a little girl? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. That sunscreen, yeah.
Is it the sunscreen?
It looks like that dog. You're right.
It
It is the sunscreen.
I feel like that's a Cairn Terrier. That's the type of dog that is.
A copper tone girl and her puppy.
No, it's a Cocker Spaniel. It's not the same breed.
No? Oh, yeah. It's just not the same. Okay. All right.
There's the palm trees.
There's the palm trees. That's right. Okay.
And I mean, Fritz doesn't go as deep as he could have based on what he was writing here, but also like all of the Wizard of Oz imagery here too. That's all theosophy, like all Frank Baum. That came directly from Blavatsky, right?
Yes.
A lot of that original symbolism. So here's yet another connection to like this pagan god worship and being tricked into worshiping Satan. If you like Wizard of Oz, bad news, you've been worshiping Satan.
So Hillary Clinton has been awarded an honorary lifetime membership to an international elite witches coven in New York. This is from 2018, and it was fact checked. Okay, fact check, and what does it say about the fact check? Okay, we can't find it. But anyways, it's been fact checked. But yeah, okay, very very interesting.
If you like all the celebrity claims and the conspiracies about like politicians, here I'll do a quick list. If you want to go into any of these, I've got the page numbers, but there's a lot of claims here. So
Go ahead.
Roseanne Barr is a monarch slave that he decoded from a Barbara Walters interview. Loretta Lynn, her husband Doolittle. Bob Hope was a slave handler. Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Hillary Clinton, Madonna, Bo Gritz, who was a Green Beret, Robert Schuller, a guy named Oral Roberts, Bill Clinton, obviously. Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Bush, Reagan, and Clinton were all slave handlers. Reagan insisted that monarch programmer Michael Aquino wear his black satanic ritual robes to a White House party. It's a direct claim on page 416. The Pope, Donald Trump, the King of Spain, two popes, Willie Nelson, and Dolly Parton. So this is in 1994, 96, and this comes out. He's already saying that Donald Trump was basically inside his Hall of Fame of Satanists. So he was like way ahead of the curve on that.
So listen, because this kind of plays into, and I was out of the game because I was taking a break, but when the whole file thing dropped, a lot of things were kind of confirmed, right? That there was different weird things going on, and they have not really done much about it. So he's not wrong that a lot of these people, right? I mean, Madonna, I think all those freaking celebrities are part of something because they're just weird, right? Especially Madonna.
Well, okay, so here, write this timestamp down if you want to censor this part. But specifically, he says on page 497 that Madonna was that he claims a company called Vidimax sold for $19 on a VHS cassette tape. So like these are that is one of the most specific claims that I've heard anybody make. Not just that Madonna was involved in some occult, ritual that resulted in someone dying, but that you can buy it for $20.
Madonna's new video, did you see it?
Is that what that was? It was the snuffle?
Her new video, it was removed from my channel because I covered it. But she was shooting out green lasers out of the bunghole, and they were doing weird stuff, bondage stuff in the bathroom on the toilet.
Okay. Hold on, guys.
Did you find this?
Hold on. Stand by.
You have to
Oh,
use
dude, hold on. I literally just
LimeWire to get it.
I ripped my my mic off my desk. All right, keep talking real quick while I sort this out because the
He
Illuminati
got
doesn't.
so excited at the mention of it, he didn't know how to do anything with himself.
Whoa. Yeah, well, you got to get it on LimeWire. So, like, what's up with LimeWire, Napster, like all these names? Do they have an occult meaning to them? I wonder.
I feel like we can do another occult breakdown of like Silicon Valley because absolutely that's just another extension of the whole like theosophical angle. So here, let me finish some of the other celebrity claims here. Another one that
Hold on, Thomas,
again,
because I got to bring something up while we're on this topic. I was able to fix it here.
Well, which topic? Because I just went through like all the. Is this the Madonna one?
Madonna, yeah. So I looked that one up because if you've ever seen 8mm, I believe is the name of the movie with.
Course is going to go to Nick Cage.
Yes. Where have you seen this movie, Donut?
It sounds familiar. I probably have. I'm looking it up right now.
Watch it. It's a crazy movie where he's trying to find the origin of us, because we've always been told that our urban legends, right? That they don't exist and that they're not really out there. So he dives into this whole thing, and it's a really I mean, it's Nick Cage, dude. Come on. It's a really great movie. So watch that.
That claim alone, though, right? That's one of the big things about like Satanic Panic, where it's like aren't real. That's just a myth. It's old folk. Are you telling me that no crazy person has ever recorded ever? That sounds way harder to believe than the existence of them.
mean, you've seen the videos, right? You've seen all these. Isn't that not considered?
Yeah, no, but the difference, I guess, would be is that there's some sort of underground network and an entire economy around the creation and the distribution of these things. And there's no such thing as black markets.
Yeah, that's what the whole frazzle thing's about, right?
So, check this out. A certain Sacrifice is a 1985 American drama film co-written and directed by Stephen John Lewicki and starring Madonna, Jeremy Patnosh, and Charles Kurtz. It was Madonna's first movie filmed from September 1979 through June 1981, but not released until 1985. So it was a low budget of just about around $20,000. And Madonna finished her scenes. The video release sold 50,000 copies. When did he say that was? What year?
I don't know. This was on page 497 that he's talking about Madonna. I don't know if he mentions the year that it came out.
Because it says here, let me try and find it. His book's really dense too, so it's
like maybe he saw this movie and then based on this movie, he was like, and this really happened, and I'm going to include it in my book.
So Madonna plays the part of Bruna, a Lower East Side resident who lives with 3 love slaves, 1 woman, 1 man, and 1 transgender woman. So another man, okay? Bruna meets...
Whoa.
Bruna meets Dashiell in the water fountain, blah, blah, blah. Bruna later tells her lover she does not need them anymore, resulting in them attacking her. That sounds a lot like, you know what? Later, okay. The bathroom.
And then, the last part, they dress up as prostitutes, lure him into a limousine.
Whoa, right here.
Lead him to a theater where a satanic sacrifice is performed, and later Raymond's blood is all over Bruna. So, yeah, here's an actual movie with Madonna acting as and involved in a satanic ritual that has like a blood sacrifice in it.
Whoa. So
the lady that was sacrificed.
Oh, here it is. An exploitation film, A Certain Sacrifice, was released on video in 1985 to capitalize on Madonna's fame. The retail price was $49.95.
Wow. That's like $200 in 1985 prices.
But he said $50, no? He said it was sold for $50.
No, he said it said Vidimax sells it for $19 for their members, but it seems like this is what he was talking about, was this movie. Or at least in Fritz Springmeier fashion, it would be like, oh, well, that's the Hollywood version, but now there's also this other version, right? And that's supposed to be the exoteric one, but there's also an esoteric one.
Well, Sharon Tate also, let's go back further than this. Sharon Tate was in a sacrifice movie called Eye of the Devil, and I believe she was sacrificed in that by like a satanic cult. I've never watched it, but I believe that's what that was about.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. So, but check this out, dude, because oh, never mind. So, but Virgin Video, a joint venture of two independent distributors, Cinnabar and Top 10 Videos. Okay, because there was more people in there, but yeah, they were selling for $59.95 back then, bro.
In 85, yeah, that's seriously like $200.
The shocking movie Madonna won't talk about.
Here's another one on page 237, which is Stanley Kubrick code, obviously, room 237. But on page 237, it says Bill Clinton flashed the sign of Satan at his inauguration to hypnotize all of the watching monarch slaves. So that like as he was being inaugurated, if you were watching him on TV, this is what basically triggered you and turned you on as like a sleeper Illuminati Satanist.
That's what happened with the Alien book as well. Because when you're under hypnosis or whatnot, you forget about certain memories, and then something can unlock that. So when Communion came out and everyone saw that alien head, they were like, oh my gosh, I forgot I was abducted as well by this thing. And so it triggered something.
And Disclosure Day came out today, didn't it? I think I'm going to have to find that online and download it. Is it up yet, Thomas?
I already got it. Yeah, there's a copy.
Yeah, I saw it.
Is it a good copy, Thomas?
It is a good copy, yeah.
Very good. All right, we're going to watch that tonight because apparently that's supposed to shape everyone's reality and trigger some sort of thing according to Spielberg.
Have either of you guys seen the Boys series?
Yeah.
No, I've never seen it.
You never seen The Boys?
Go ahead, Donna. Go ahead. E.T. from home.
Donna, have you seen The Boys?
Yeah, the first season was on point predictive programming, like insane.
So one of the guys, the Deep, his entire thing is that he can breathe underwater. He's kind of like Aquaman, right?
Don't spoil it for me though, bro. I want to watch it.
So no, it's not spoiling it. It's just his superpower. He's like an Aquaman.
Okay.
So on page 370 of this book by Fritz Springmeier, he says that Aquaman is essentially a soft disclosure of actual gill-equipped amphibious super soldiers, and that Aquaman is part of the disclosure, and also the movie Waterworld was part of this disclosure, that essentially DARPA has been training real-life Aquamen, that they're not using technology, they've modified their biology in order to, like right there, the concept of gills for people is quite achievable.
So
yes.
What's that one movie? What Guillermo del Toro with the Aquaman looking thing, the monster? You know which one I'm talking about? It's like the water something or other.
Oh yeah, like The Love of Water or something. I don't remember the exact name of it.
So it's called Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water, which is, where did that guy come? They found him, didn't they? It was like a monster.
Well, and it's the same. They were trying to figure out how humans could possibly be able to have gills and live underwater too. That's right. It was the love story about the woman and the Nephilim.
Yeah. So let's read this part here. Let's pick this part. The National Geographic article admitted that they had a membrane through which a parrot could get oxygen via the water.
Hold on. You have to read it different. You have to do it like this.
Go.
The National Geographic article admitted that they had a membrane through which a parrot could get oxygen via the water around it. Now, logic would tell you that if they have a membrane that'll allow a parrot to breathe surrounded by water, that the technical difficulties of adapting this to a person could be easily overcome. So giving gills to people is achievable. That's fact.
However, the ability for humans to directly breathe from water is already achievable due to some other advances they have already used secretly for years. in order to capitalize on their discovery of how to create amphibious man. Military minds in the Illuminati went to work trying to think up schemes on how to use men who can swim like fish to their own evil advantages. And this almost sounds like, didn't the Russians have like some sort of Illuminati mind-controlled dolphins? Weren't they using dolphins in warfare?
Yeah, bro, but this is not dolphins. This is people.
Yeah, but what if the people are dolphins? Or, yeah. Here is a discovery that could benefit mankind, and yet they are thinking of ways to use it for... How dare they use this advancement for evil? They basically realized that amphibious man could be used like a glorified SEAL team. SEAL teams are the Navy's semi-secret group of well-trained men who do primary land operations after swimming ashore. Monarch slaves are being used in the SEAL teams. The SEAL teams are being secretly used to carry out assassinations, such as recently as they were used to assassinate people in Iraq. Do you think that the guys who took out Osama were...
They're still doing it, dude. They had SEAL being a SEAL at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hidden in the game. It's hidden in the game.
And to credit you, Donut, it says right there too. It says the comic scenario of Aquaman with dolphins is not fiction anymore. The SEALs use SDVs, SEAL deep vehicles, which are tight-fitting 4-person man subs, and then they basically use those to swim with the dolphins.
Yeah, shout out to the Dolphins. Whoa, I thought that was powerful. Shout out to the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are rising out of the sea.
The name, which is being used worldwide by people familiar with the concept of swimming like fish, is amphibious man. There are groups secretly worldwide working on the use of this new subspecies of man. They are genetically trying to engineer new skin and other parts of the human body to make people more suitable for living underwater.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still doing that today with won't get into it, but yeah.
What do you mean?
There is a version of this.
Just changing man,
Yes.
Yeah, changing man for the next 2040 kind of thing. But even this soccer game, the theme song, Megan Thee Stallion with the aroused genitalia, she was the theme song, and it was about the unique coding of man, just like Kendrick Lamar. He was rapping at the Super Bowl about the unique coding of man. So it's an early distant warning system for the new technology. So the Aquaman being like soft disclosure or why it's warming people up to accept the outcome of the new technologies for sure.
Wait, so Megan Thee Stallion's new song is called DNA?
Yeah, it's the theme song for the FIFA World Cup. People are getting mad because I call it the FIFA World Cup, but I thought, like, you look at PI, that's how you don't say P when you look at PI. So FI, I thought I said FIFA, and everyone got mad at me. That's how it reads. If I write pi, PI, if I write phi, FI. So if I write P, it'd be PEE. So I thought FIFA would be FEE, but I guess FIFA is now, I don't know. I never watched it before. So.
And let me just, I guess, if they're talking about soccer is their DNA, I can't not think about the soccer ball in Monsters, Inc., which the pattern on a soccer ball represents
adrenal, isn't it?
Yeah, bro. You said it, not me.
Well, you got to make a clip of that and put it out. It'll go viral. I just did a soccer FIFA thing. It's super viral. Got like
dude,
nothing goes viral on anything I do, but that went viral.
So it's the molecular structure, right, Thomas? Is that the one? Am I looking at the right thing?
It's the Bad
You're looking at the right one, yeah.
It's the Bad Bunny.
Oh yeah, because it's a bunny on the side. Yeah, yeah. Wait, you said I was looking at the wrong one?
No.
You got the right one. If you look at that, if you look at this next to a soccer ball, this is also the pattern of a soccer ball where you've got that Saturnian cube in the middle, followed by a little pentagon, essentially.
But let me play devil's advocate. Isn't...
Oh, so there is a pentagon in a soccer ball.
Yeah.
it alternates between the white and the black. You'll actually see that it's two different shapes. It's not the same shape.
I thought so. Okay, this is so. I did
So-
a video breakdown on this, and
So
now
check it
it's-
out. And it's almost like Baal worship, Baal worship, right? Like people worship these sports and like it's like the whole thing behind it. But aren't all molecular structures like this too, Thomas? Like, don't they all look the same?
So what you're looking at is called a skeleton formula. So the skeleton formula doesn't really mean that this is how they're arranged in physical reality. This is just a shorthand. So if you were writing it down and giving it to like another scientist, this is how that you would sort of spell it out. So like when you see those 3D models, for example, like that's not really what that molecule would look like. That's all just a way that you can easily write it down. So for a soccer ball to the pattern on a soccer ball to represent would require that to all fit within this skeleton structure, which is just like a notation version of this stuff.
Okay, so it's not 110%, but pretty. We'll call it. We'll pull a Fritz and say it's pretty close. Right.
It's close enough to put a book out about. It's 600 pages.
Yes. Okay. All right. Just making sure. Wow. Okay. Well, that's crazy, dude. All right. So what else we got? The list of censored words.
Fritzo-franic right now. You're being Fritzo-franic.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. And the list of
Schizophrenic,
words to censor is getting bigger and bigger. So I'm just writing them all down.
All right, here's another fun one. Elvis's dead twin gave him double soul power, and that Colonel Tom Parker was his programmer. This is page 501. So I mean, I've heard the Colonel Tom thing a million times over, that he was his handler. That almost seems like conventional knowledge at this point, that if you just look into it enough, you can see that Colonel Tom was some kind of a handler of him. But I had never heard that Elvis's dead twin gave him what Fritz calls double soul power. And that's why he had so much soul. It's because he literally inherited the soul of a whole nother person.
And then he died on the toilet.
Yeah. Yes. And wasn't he like super occult? Like, isn't that what that book that was written about him where occult Elvis, where he was
even the record label.
What was the name of the record label?
It was like there was like a rooster and a sun rising over the mountain kind of thing. It went into like some solar symbolism.
Oh yeah, Sun Record Company. Yeah. So because allegedly he had a twin in the womb, right? Is that the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, this, if you want to look it up, it's page 501 is where he goes into Elvis's dead twin.
All right, here we go. So 501, where we at? Many movies. They also got LaVey here. Where we at?
Have you seen Bubba Hotep?
No.
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, it's really good. It's the evil dead guy plays a dead Elvis mummy.
Right here.
So
right here. So recently, another Illuminati slave also stated that Elvis was an Illuminati slave. Cisco points out that Elvis's twin brother was dead at his birth, and that Elvis knew that this gave him double spiritual power, according to Illuminati beliefs. The Illuminati will often kill a twin so that the other will get the power of two souls.
That's what happened to Dwight. Dwight ate his twin.
Well, that's a parasitic twin, which I don't know is the same as letting them be born and then come, because you don't have a soul yet until like the certain trimester.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, dude. Figure it out.
That's what he told us. That's what he told us.
There's a science to this. You can't just make it as you go up.
Yeah, you can't do that. So check this out. From what we understand, Elvis Presley's handler / programmer was Colonel Tom Parker. Elvis belonged to a team of 4 Illuminati men. Elvis is publicly known to have studied yoga, numerology. He studied and received some new age spiritual training in an academy overlooking Pasadena. Can we confirm this? California.
He got a card by the FBI or something that he is allowed to do all over the world.
What?
Yeah, he got a unique badge from one of the intelligence agencies that Elvis was allowed to carry any kind of all over the world, and it was okay.
There's also a book by a person we can't name. Well, I'm going to call her TT, or they them TT.
Yeah.
But TT also writes about how Frank Sinatra and Elvis and all these movie stars would often be used as not just but as human, because once they landed, even if they have that badge or not, the donut was talking about, that even the ones that are supposed to check them and like, help, let me open up your suitcase and everything, they would be starstruck. They'd be like, oh my God, it's the great, Frank Sinatra. I can't pat Frank Sinatra down.
I can't do a
now all of
cavity
sudden,
check on
there's a
Frank
reason-
Sinatra.
Well, there's a reason for the mafia, the military, anyone to be like, well, now we need to put some people or some on Frank Sinatra's plane because they're going to be so overwhelmed with star power that they're not going to do a thorough check. So it becomes like a real tactic.
It's also how Donald Trump was able to get loans from a lot of bankers as well, where Michael Jackson, the black man that he's best friends with, who was getting it on in Mar-a-Lago with his girlfriend while he stayed there, he wrote all about this, that he would bring them to dinners where bankers were, and they would tremble at the sight of Michael Jackson because of the stardom. And this even could tie back all the way to Illuminati influences of the different artists and whatnot that Thomas wrote about in the Illuminati comic.
Whoa, dude. So he was an active member in the Theosophical Society. Is that true? Can we confirm that?
We're going to have to confirm that.
We're going to have to. So after Elvis Presley supposedly died, the Sun International Corp came out with an Elvis Presley album called Orion with the winged sun disk on its cover. The winged sun disk is an important Egyptian magical symbol used by the OTO, Theosophical Society, etc. Mayborn Axton, known as the Grand Dame of Nashville, played a pivotal role in Elvis Presley's life. Elvis and the Beatles were chosen by the Illuminati to introduce rock music to the United States.
It's the dung beetle. It's the poop beetle.
That is also true.
Did you confirm that he was part of the Theosophical?
First, I did the spiritual training in Pasadena, California. This looks like a reference to a guy named Larry Geller in 1964, who was a hairdresser / spiritual advisor. Like, I guess they kind of all are, right?
Yeah.
But this was probably what he was talking about. There's also an example where Elvis met a guy named Sri Daya Mata, who was like some yoga dude, and that might be what he's talking about.
So, okay. Elvis worked with Burt Reynolds and Jerry Lee Lewis, who was also connected with the Illuminati's mind control operations. The authors are puzzled why Elvis's grave, which had millions of dollars spent on its security, has his name misspelled. We are also puzzled why Elvis, who has repeatedly stated he wanted to be buried beside his mother, is buried beside his father, who he privately stated wasn't even his real father. Why has no one ever tried to collect insurance on Elvis's death? Once again, it seems the front stories that the public hears are full of inconsistencies. We believe that some people in the Illuminati know the true story about Elvis Presley. For sure, Elvis's mysterious mind control programmer / handler, Colonel Tom Parker, would know. Is this true? Did they misspell his grave? His tombstone?
We'll find that, because that's actually interesting if they misspelt it.
The misspelling name is Aaron on his tombstone is actually intentional, not a mistake. While his birth certificate originally read Aaron with 1A, Elvis explicitly requested before his death that it be changed to the traditional biblical spelling. Elvis's father, Vernon, honored this specific wish and had Aaron engraved on the grave marker at Graceland.
So there you go, Fritz. Like, he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Or is that the story?
Yeah,
so
but who programmed the AI to say that? You gotta
the OTO claim is actually really interesting, right? So first of all, I don't think that he was ever like an official public member, but there's this is actually really recent. There's a magazine called Quest Magazine from 2025, which is a theosophical magazine, and in that it says that Elvis turned to the essential texts of theosophy, especially Blavatsky's The Voice of Silence, and also read Alice Bailey. And that guy that I was talking about before, Larry Geller is the one that introduced him to theosophy. And then here's an even better one that it's going to perk you up a little bit. Make sure your microphone's screwed all the way in. It says that there's also a Theosophical Society article on Manly Palmer Hall stating that Hall had frequent phone conversations with Elvis.
I believe that. I think I read that somewhere. And also with Ronald Reagan, no? He had meetings with Ronald Reagan as well.
I would care
Yeah.
more about Manly Palmer Hall than Ronald Reagan.
No, I'm
Ronald
saying Manly P.
Reagan-
Hall and Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan confided in Manly P. Hall for his ceremony of becoming governor. There's a whole article on it with the Reagans and the occult.
Whoa. Elvis had a deep
so the
photo.
exact time that he became governor was at a weird time, like in the 2 a.m. or something like that, for an astrological alignment.
That's pretty crazy, dude. Manly P. Hall and Elvis Presley. What a weird friendship, right? Have you ever? I mean, is
at all? I think it makes total sense because you're a star power, and you're out of options in a lot of ways. You get resources any you want all over the world, you can do pretty much whatever you want, and you get bored with it. So you're like, I'm gonna call Manly P. Hall. You probably call it makes sense. I think.
Have you guys ever listened to Elvis Presley's music?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's got that. I like the "You're the Devil in Disguise" and yeah.
Is it good? I mean, I'm sure I've heard
it's
songs.
a great song. Yeah, she walks like a donna. She's the devil in disguise. It's very Las Vegas. I'm from Vegas, so there's always Vegas Elvis nostalgia.
Interesting.
I think it's legitimately good. He legitimately had merit, and that he knew how to play music and sing, and he knew how to be an entertainer. 100%.
We got the people horny with those hip movements.
Yeah, don't bring up a clip. We can't have Juan knock the mic off again.
Hold on, let me look it up. Elvis Presley hip thrusts.
Hip
gyrations. It was
they had to ban it. He got threatened with being arrested for indecent exposure if he did his little hip thrusts at live performances.
It made people go wild.
I'm watching a clip off. Oh, this looks AI though, dude.
It's probably AI. It's always been. I don't think Elvis Presley ever actually existed.
So let's see here. It says here it caused his hip thrust sparked a cultural revolution in the 1950s. Though initial born at a stage fright and feeling the rhythm, he consciously continued them after seeing their electric effect on screaming teenage audiences. Okay. All right. And gyrations, he would gyrate too? Elvis the pelvis.
Anything that the devil taught him to do, he did it.
Elvis the pelvis, bro, is what they called him.
Yep, that's right.
Oh my goodness. All right. So next point.
Next, this one is kind of close to home, except on the West Coast version. This is page 541. And this is also, I think, one of the most iconic Illuminati monarch things. It comes a little bit from Kathy O'Brien, but Fritz puts his own spin on it. It's that Disneyland is an after-hours satanic ritual and child programming site, and that each ride at Disneyland has a different effect on the monarch programming.
What page?
Page 541. And he kind of breaks down what some of the different rides do, I think, in other talks over there at Disney World, Florida. Yeah.
Oh, you know who else talks about It's a Small World? TT.
But Disneyland too. Disney World doesn't have as much of a blurb as Disneyland, which is the one right before this.
Yeah, It's a Small World was about globalism, right?
No. TT wrote about It's a Small World, and it's connected to Tomorrowland, where they essentially abduct children and they use them to, the Gifted program, where all these children have powers and they send them out as interdimensional.
There's actually a movie called Escape from Tomorrowland, which kind of has a similar plot where they're using Disney World and theme parks, but specifically Disney World in that movie, in order to hunt down children and traffic them.
Escape from Tomorrow. I've never seen that one, but I've seen Tomorrowland.
I think it's called Escape from Tomorrowland. It was all
pretty good.
It was all shot without Disney's permission
Oh,
on
I
Disney
heard
property. I
about
believe.
that, dude. Yes, I heard about that where they used a GoPro, I think.
Yeah.
Have you seen Backrooms yet?
Not yet, dude. Don't spoil it, but I'm going to be doing an episode on that soon.
It's good. You'll like it.
So
So
Disneyland
read this one out.
has been an off-hour site for Illuminati and satanic rituals for years. You know, everyone knows that. Programming has gone on using Disneyland as one of their big prop for programming. Many of the Disney movies are used for programming, and some Disney scripts are especially tailored for monarch slave programming. The Peter Pan programming can use the ship. The space programming can use the
Space Mountain, bro.
Space props. The satanic program can use the castles. Lots of mirror programming is done at Disneyland and Disney World. There is also Magic Mountain programming and programming using the Around the World dolls and its theme song. It's so creepy when you're in that, right? It's so creepy, right? Is he talking about It's a New World? It's a new like that freaking like and it feels like it goes on forever and ever. And you're just on that ride, like, dude. What
Bro, you're gonna love that movie, dude. It starts off on the ride,
dude.
No spoilers, bro.
No spoilers, bro.
That's a spoiler.
And you know who talked about it? TT talked about it.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
He also says Wizard of Oz and Cinderella programming are also done at Disneyland. There's no Wizard of Oz at Disney. That's not a Disney property, is it?
I mean, you would know. You worked at Disney.
They probably signed some kind of.
I guess it was MGM, so yeah.
You gotta get that paper, and like they probably signed like you're allowed to lease this for a month.
So it says here, no, never mind. I was at Universal Studios when they had that witch movie come out with the green lady and the lady with the long fingers. You know what I'm talking about? The actress, the black one with the long fingers and Wicked. Yeah, I was there and it was Universal Studios. It wasn't Disney, but
I liked Ariana Grande in that film. She was excellent.
So Walt Disney originally planned to produce an animated Wizard of Oz as his second feature film, but MGM secured the rights for the first of their iconic 1939 classic. Decades later, Disney officially expanded the franchise with their own live-action prequel, The Great and Powerful, in 2013. So
decades, bro. That's more than decade. From 1940 to 2013, that's more than just a few decades.
Decades, bro. Walt Disney's ambition, blah, blah, blah.
Almost a freaking century.
Wasn't this guy a theosophist too? Frank Baum?
Yes. I was saying that he derived all of those stories directly off of teachings from Helena Blavatsky. I did a long show with Jamie Hanshaw Dyer recently on the Wicked series. We go way into the details on this. Because I don't know if you knew this, Juan, but when Helena Blavatsky, she ends up moving to the States, and when she moves to the States, she moved in right where Times Square is at, and also right where the original Broadway district was at. Before Broadway existed, Helena Blavatsky moved into Broadway. So like theosophy actually and Broadway grew up around her. So like once you start looking into the origins of American Broadway, there's theosophy all up and down it.
I would even say if you're talking about plays, right? Even the movie about the killer that was remade, which was a play, Sweeney Todd play, it's very occult as well. And the aesthetics of that play were different than the aesthetics of the guy's past history of what he created. It seems very occult when you look at it with the barbershop, people singing and all that.
Yeah, the Sweeney Todd.
The page you've got open right now, it's got a bunch of different locations. So I got a list of locations that come up in this book too. They're not all right here, but I'm just going to go through some of the interesting ones. Because last time we were like looking them up on maps and stuff, he comes up with like real specific claims. So one of them is, and I think you've heard of some of these. This is called the Mother of Darkness Castle.
Yes.
Which is part of the Castle of Kings, which is by the Belgian-French border. And it's called Mother of Darkness Castle. And this is on page 317 that Fritz says In the basement of this castle, an innocent child is sacrificed every day to provide blood to write in a huge book of record of how Satan is bringing his plans to fruition. So every single day, somebody has to die so that their blood can be used as the ink in this book to Satan.
So is it the Chateau de Amor?
This is it. Yes, that is it.
Satanic allegations. The castle is frequently cited in urban legends, bro. Urban legends as a meeting place for a secretive elite on satanic ring, allegedly known as the Mothers of Darkness. I gotta censor that part out too on this. So, during the suggesting kidnapping were taken there for elite parties. Okay, so it doesn't. I mean, rumors claim the property was used during the Belgian Dutroux affair, with theories suggesting kidnapped children were taken there. So it's almost like the OG island before it was an island.
Bro, or this is like the original Comet Ping Pong, at least.
Yeah, exactly. In the basement, right? Like that's the whole thing. So
and they show up to the castle, and the castle's like, "We don't have a basement."
Yeah.
What do you mean? No basement here.
Yikes. Okay, yeah, I've seen this a few times.
Here's another one: that there are palm scanner tunnels under Portland Lake, Mormon Temple, and that the entrance from the temple laundry building south of the temple. So it's like these.
This thing?
Underground Mormon bases. This is page 233 if you care about that. But yeah, palm scanner tunnels. I actually believe this.
What does that even mean?
I don't doubt that.
What does that even mean, bro?
That there's secret tunnels that you have to put your palm on that would scan it, which sounds more impressive again if you were reading this in the mid 1990s.
Yeah.
It's like palm scanners. You mean like the ones they have in movies, like Demolition Man and Star Trek? I guess now palm scanner is not that impressive. You would just like wave your RFID chip or whatever, and then Fritz would be like, "That's the mark of the beast."
Yeah, it just scans your face now as you walk up, and it just automatically opens for you.
It's gonna.
But he's claiming that they had palm scanning.
Scans your anal code.
You got to sit on the toilet first. That's the only way.
Spread them cheeks. Well, you also got the Chateau Marmont Sunset Strip right by Disneyland. Not there, Sunset Strip and Anaheim, they're separate, but that's also got a strange lore as well, connected to the Playboy Mansion and all that.
Yeah, and that's right there too. That's mind control.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Tulsa, Oklahoma is known as the guardian city of Apollo, and that this is a healing center for a demon named Asclepius. This is page 222.
All right,
I'm
so
not as well versed in demons as you are, Juan, so maybe you've heard of him.
No, I haven't. So Tulsa, Oklahoma, what?
It's called the Guardian City of Apollo. I've never heard this either.
I've never heard this. Yeah, this is interesting. It sounds like you're thinking of Tulsa Air.
Nope.
Space.
Nope. AI is trying to throw you off.
Like
we're on the right path, and it's
Apollo's
trying to
Marshall.
distract you.
Dude, it's just a misunderstanding, brother. No, that's not one that
again,
we can
this is
confirm.
a healing center for the demon Asclepius. Sloppy-asius. It's AESCULAPIUS.
That's a sloppy homunculus.
Hold on, say
AESCULAPIUS. There you go. That Asclepian snake. That's probably named after him.
It looks like a turd.
Oh,
A swirling
There you go.
turd.
there we go. So we have there's no standalone.
No, it's
This?
PIUS, not PIAN. There you go.
I feel like it should have brought that up. It wasn't even that much different.
I know it wasn't. Yeah, it's trying to hide it though.
Asclepius? It's not a demon.
Is this the it said with the rod of medicine?
Yeah.
So the caduceus, kind of like Hermes. Oh no, this is like the staff that Moses had almost.
Asclepius.
Like who's got the biggest snake and the biggest staff?
Yeah, the
they win.
Got the biggest horse dong.
Dong.
All right, so we got
Bro, I
Greco-Roman
really think
medicine.
that was something to the s'mores thing. I can't get out of my mind.
He is
with the
famous for his serpent entwined staff, which remains the universal symbol of the medical profession. So, no demons there, Fritz. What's going on?
All right. And then here's another secret location that I wrote down, page 548. He says a Youngstown charm school that was run by an actual congressman. His name was Tim Traficant. But the claim that Fritz says that happens at this Youngstown charm school was that it produces 6 new monarch slaves every 3 days with named dungeon animals. Goat, Satan, donkey, Nestor, pony, Trigger. Those are the different names that they name people that are in the dungeons.
What page is this?
This is page 548, talking about the Youngstown Charm School.
Titusville, Florida, at the Kennedy Space Center. Mind control testing is done, and base programming such as Wizard of Oz programming is done here. Also, NASA high-tech programming is done here. So,
Yeah, right there, Youngstown, Ohio.
yikes. The slaves are taught in silence in a dungeon as they are subjected to bestia. Another word for the bank. Bestia.
This one is one of the wildest claims, just kind of hidden in the back of the book under some random location. But if you read what this is claiming, it kind of spans everything.
All right, so the Youngstown Charm School has been run by iLLUMINATi's Prosser Seward Mellon, along with a U.S. congressman named Jim Traficant. So, dude, the people that he names on these things, like, have they sued him? I'm sure they've sued him, right? Like, for defamation. Does this count as defamation?
How much time and money are you going to spend suing someone that's in prison for armed bank robbery for the next 60 months?
The old stone building originally belonged to one of the railroad elite. This school is for beta models and gives them advanced charm training. This school produces about 6 new monarch slaves every 3 days. Mafia deals are carried out on the second floor of the charm school. A slave who is being trained program will take a course that lasts a few days. The first may be spent hanging in a dungeon, which was once a basement wine cellar. The dungeon
Just like Comet Ping Pong.
has all the traditional devices, a stretching rack, whips, hanging chains, etc. And the dungeon rooms were a black Nubian goat, Satan, a small donkey, Nestor, and a small white pony, Trigger, as well as dogs and snakes. What? Oh, I get what's going on here. Oh.
They're teaching these Illuminati slaves how to copulate with these animals.
Yikes, brother.
And look at what he says. We have just touched the surface. Like, he hasn't even gone deep on any of this.
You think
He's
this
just letting you know. This is like the bullet points. We're not even getting into the weeds yet.
Oh my goodness, dude. I mean, wouldn't it be like a felony if you knew about that? You think maybe he was set up with the, it was just like a cover story to get him in jail to silence him? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, that's what he says. That's exactly what he says. And he's out now. Fritz was in a documentary called Illuminati Killers, I think, that came out maybe like 3 or 4 years ago on Amazon or something. So
I did a podcast with him. He was really sweet.
When did you do a podcast with him?
It's up on my channel. It's not on my YouTube. It's on my Rumble. Yeah.
How'd you get a hold of him? Do you have his contact info?
Well, since the guy that I got in contact with him, I won't get into it, but
Is he part of the Illuminati?
No, he called me the K word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kabbalah? He called you
Yeah.
a Kabbalist?
No, another K word.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think that's kind of.
Yeah.
I won't be able to get a hold of.
You don't need to go through that guy to get a hold of Fritz, though. I heard that if you wait until 3:33 p.m.
Shut
on a
up.
Thursday and you ride the Tower of Terror and you knock 3 times, then that's how you get a hold of Fritz now.
Doesn't he have like an email or something
He was
around
really
here?
cool though. He was so sweet. He was just a nice dude.
Here,
So
we'll figure out a way to get a hold of Fritz, and we're gonna have him on because Fritz is a there's a lot to unpack from his work, and I think that Fritz contact info here. We'll find him.
So hit him up here. I got a few other mentions that are worth talking about really quick. So page 427, he says that in Disney, the 7 dwarves are all demons. And he actually says that the 7 dwarves come from a Scandinavian tale about demonic dwarves called Toki, Skaver, Vardun, Orangir, and Radsvid. So he was onto some stuff, man. Like, this is things that you're still hearing about 3 decades later that are actually legit.
Yeah, because a lot of the stories of like Disney and stuff was based on like the Grimm brothers, right? Like just not as dark versions of the Grimm brothers stories, right? Isn't that like the whole thing behind those stories?
Most of Disney's early stories all came from Grimm brothers, yeah, which were all Germanic folklore essentially. But this one was like a Scandinavian version. There's a lot of explanations for the 7 dwarves. Actually, there's 2 different towns in Bavaria that had mines that they would send children down into. So there's also some explanations that the 7 dwarves really represented children that were being sent into like coal mines. And they were like dying down there. So they made like a fun story about it. But really those were like tragic stories of like forcing kids to work. Here's another one that Fritz drops that remind me of like a Michael Sarion connection, where he says that Mazda, the car company, is a name for Ahura Mazda, the god of light, and that is a representation of Lucifer, which again, theosophically, that is what I think Blavatsky would probably also connect those dots without being a conspiracy theorist about it.
I think it was even like confirmed too.
That Mazda is the god of light?
No, that's what it was named like after and stuff.
Yeah, Ahura Mazda, yeah. And I mean, Saturn Car Company, which doesn't exist anymore, but I'm sure Fritz would have had something to say about Saturn too. Okay, here's another one. And here's for the alchemical in you, if you've still got any of the alchemy left, Juan. You didn't burn it all while you were gone.
I did. I'm all out.
On page 453, he says that there's white powdered gold, which makes you psychic, disease-free, and glowing, and that it was patented by a guy named David Hudson of the Holy Bloodline in the 13th Illuminati bloodline.
Wait, what? Say that again?
White powdered gold that makes you psychic, disease-free, and glowing, and it was patented by a guy named David Hudson of the Holy Bloodline. So that apparently David Hudson is one of the because if you ever heard the 13 Bloodlines of the Illuminati, that's also a Fritz Springmeier thing.
Monoatomic gold?
No, but maybe.
Yeah,
Right
1970s,
there, 1970 by David Hudson.
So Fritz kind of he talks about things, right? So let's see here.
Does monoatomic gold make you psychic?
Yeah. No, you drink it and you're supposed to have some of it has pee in it. It's Ormus gold. You drink it and it's the whole thing. And
I've heard about this before, dude.
You can buy it online.
I didn't know what it was, but hey, you guys want to try some out if I buy it online?
There's a store that sells it here in Arizona, and he says the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we make our own and we pee in it."
I already got scammed.
Doesn't sell the pee version though.
I tried drinking this bone juice before, and then I found out that it wasn't even the right bone juice. So I don't know if I'm ready to drink any of this monoatomic golds just yet. Like, how do you know it even came from the right demon?
So check this out, dude. Look at this. So mono arc. So this guy, who is this guy? Barry Lawrence Gardner. He said here in Lost Secrets of the Sacred Art, he claimed that the Ark of the Covenant was a machine manufacturing monoatomic gold, a supposed elixir which was used to extend life. His theory is also... Yeah. Who is this guy? Have you ever heard of this guy, Lawrence Gardner? I feel like he's...
them chemical plates of the pissing fountains for the magnum opus, which is the sign of the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's all connected to the toilet.
which in which he stated the Christian God is an extra. Have we talked about this guy before? Have we seen this guy?
Dude, this guy's Twitter account's probably fire right now.
Lawrence Gardner. Why does that name sound?
Oh my God,
familiar?
he died on the Helical Rising of Sirius. Was he a House of Lords?
Lost Secret of the Sacred Arcs. Huh.
And maybe we need to elevate this one for a future book club.
Yeah, dude, it piqued my interest when he was saying that. He's saying he's spitting some stuff, bro. So British.
All right,
author.
here's another one. So page 429 has a full demon org chart with job titles on it. So if you want to see how like a corporation would be run in terms of demons, it's on 429 and 430.
All right,
so it lists like what their role would be if this were an episode of The Office. Here's what all the demons' roles are.
So we are Asclepius, the satanic miracle healer related to Apollos in the pagan world. He was depicted with his head encircled with rays in order to show the pagans that it was okay to worship Jesus. The Catholic Church put the golden rays of Asclepius around the pictures of Jesus. He is also at times represented as the sacred snake. Absalomon, Ammon, various spellings, a Marquis of Hell who has the gift of prophecy. Apollyon, which you've heard this one before, the demon that is over the bottomless pit, is described by Revelations 9:11. Interesting, 9:11. Demon of fear and destruction who may be a deep part of a system.
Yeah, where was Fritz on the 9/11 prediction, bud? That would have been fire if he had that one under control. He was like, and by the way, 9/11, like just look out for that date.
He did though, bro, but he can't just flat out say, look, Revelation 9/11, dude.
This is him letting you know about it.
Yeah.
If you have the eyes to see.
Apollo, the Antichrist father, Astar. Bible students will find this demon referred in many Bible passages, including Judge 2:13, Acts 20. Balilo, witch demon, Beelzebub, ruling demon, Belial, the chief demon, which name meaning worthless one. Belial, demon's best, spiritual ruling the dwarfs, spirit ruling the dwarfs. Oh, Bess, yeah, I've seen that. It's like a little demon. There's like little depictions of him. Blackwell, legion demon, upper rank to divide mind. Yeah. So, what? Whoa. Blood, aka Yahweh Elohim, dark spirit using God's name and part of a black mass connection with early 3-year-old trauma with a locked up child. Why? Like, how does he even get here with that? Like, how do you even
We're going to get into that. I've got another page that we can pull up that gets into a little bit of that.
So Choron's on to help with the constructing the mind and control demon. And this is the demon that Crowley ran into the desert. I think he was battling or something like that. Dagon, the fish
Sounds
god.
like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
There's a Pokemon. Yeah, he's got to catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. So the fish god over water, the fish signs, was adopted by the elements of the Catholic Church to secretly keep Dagon worship alive. The Pope wears the garb that the Pontifex Maximus wore as the leader of the cult of Dagon. One system had
the fish hat.
One system had yeah, I've seen that. Had a water monster named Cthulhu. What system, Fritz? What, the OTO system that worship freaking Lovecraftian entities? Like who?
I think like before internet though, you could just pull in some HP Lovecraft and be like, bro, it's in the Bible somewhere, and like no one legitimately has the time to fact check you, so you can just say like, oh yeah, it was research on a demon called Cthulhu, look it up.
Leviathan, seen as a sea monster, or Tyrannosaurus Rex, or dragon. Like this demon runs up and down the spine. Leviathan is related to the Babylonian reptilian god Tiamat, which looks like the reptilian aliens portrayed today. It is tied to the double helix. It can actually be 3 spirits. Bible students can read about Leviathan in Job, Psalms, Isaiah. Lilith, a bloody demon known as the terror of the night. The occult story is that she was Adam's wife before Eve, and that her offspring with Adam were demonic human monsters. It might be worthy to mention that in Druidism, the life force or energy force is considered to be the dragon. There are several names for this dragon, including Wyvern, and Wigan Lion. Mammon, the demon of avarice. Meganosis, Metatron, sometimes said to be Enoch. Moriah, Moloch, the various satanic Luciferian groups that offer to Moloch an internal temple of Moloch may guard the innocent blood, etc., etc. Historically, the people in Israel sacrificed children to Moloch at the Tophet in the valley of Hinnom near Jerusalem. Donut. You have anything to say, bro?
Yeah, they were doing that kind of stuff and having orgies and stuff with these statues. And then that's why Moses went up somewhere for a long time, for 40 years or something, and came back down and broke the law. He broke the plates of the
All
law.
right, you're off the hook for now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you're
when
good.
You got out of
he
that
came
one.
back in, and he was like, "Yo, you can't be doing this," and so we don't do that.
We don't do that. All right. What's next?
All right, here.
Thomas.
So since you brought it up and you were like, "Oh, what's this weird thing about the children?" Page 412. This is one of the weirdest claims that I couldn't find the source of. So he claims that.
Hold on, Thomas, real quick, because you mentioned something interesting. Could it be possible that Fritz wrote this particular book in a certain code, and that it's meant to? Because if you look at the cover, the cover doesn't really show like traditional writing. It's got like this weird stuff
It's
on
Helen. Yeah, so I researched this. It's Hellenistic type thing. If you look at the very top,
it. Yeah,
the even higher up than that, right there, you see that word.
yeah.
That says Helen or Helena.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a Greek, and I was looking really into the font and what they were using, and I couldn't find any connections. But that's what.
Well, also, when I just want to point out, when this came out, I don't know if that's the font that was used, and it definitely didn't have a website on the bottom of the title page. Like I think that this version that we're looking at was a modern like recreation of the original manual, because if you look at it, the OG of this is like a spiral bound, like Xeroxed sort of collection of pages, and I think they go for, man, they were going for like $300-400, somewhere like $1,000 for one of the original spiral bound versions of this. I think it was made on like a typewriter, the original one.
so this one right here, this yellow one.
The yellow one, yeah, and then the other yellow one under it on the next row. Yeah, that one. That's what the original looked like, and then all the ones that have like color and stuff in the color are different. Yeah, but this is a reproduction. That's not an original.
There's no original ones for sale either.
So if you pay attention on eBay, you'll find them once in a while.
Look at this, $33. 8 books.
A lot of those ones are going to be the perfect bound version that you like find on Amazon.
If a listener listening wants to, send me a gift for Father's Day, I wouldn't mind an original copy of the
first edition.
First edition.
So page 412.
Oh, look at who's here.
Says that they give alcoholic enemas to children in order to summon demons. I knew you were gonna like this one.
What? No, I don't like it. It sounds ridiculous, bro.
No, it's a butthole portals.
So within the occult world, okay, all right. This is interesting right here. So let's start here. This is portals and focal points. All right. So within the occult world, the entire study of demonology is wrapped around the geometric shapes that serve as focal points for demons, such as made by crystals and pyramids, which again, angels, I have always talked about that, and the portals by which demons can enter the human body. A demon doesn't have to be materialized, conjured up to enter into a body. Geometric shapes which are believed to attract demons are placed into the internal world of slaves. The will of the person also plays a role in the introduction of demons into the body. It attaches and layers in demons within the body, and blood sacrifices are used to attach powerful demons. According to high-level demonology, certain powerful spirits can only be manipulated if there are blood sacrifices. Hold on. Let me add some other words to the
all the words you're going to censor?
Yeah, all the ever-growing list. So, in blood sacrifices are used. According to high-level demonology, certain spirits, etc., etc. This may seem strange. However, the record evidence bears out that generational victims of possession who have had demons placed in via blood sacrifices are definitely controlled by more powerful demonic forces. All of the chakra points and the orifices to the human body serve as portals. Both the iLLUMINATi and Christian deliverance ministers agree that the mouth, ears, nose, anus, etc. are portals. High influxes of demonic energy into the body is accompanied by a burning sensation. The mother of darkness, who is assigned to a child who is being programmed, has to oil the child periodically to protect it from this burning. The goal to possess someone of spirits or to be possessed by spirits has been practiced since the early times of mankind. In Lewin's New Worlds of Mind and Spirit magazine, 94, they write the golem. Okay. The golem of Prague were mind-controlled slaves created by magic of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, according to the best Masonic authorities, including Albert Pike in his famous Morals and Dogma, is the basis of Freemasonry. By extension...
which is not true at all, not even close.
By extension, then it is clear that the goal of having mind-control golem has been the goal of Freemasonry, because that goal is the best example of practical Kabbalah. This is the paper trail that lets us view the secret goals of the secret world of Freemasonry. There are Kabbalistic grades within Freemasonry. Slaves were used by the higher and more occult Masonic rites in the 19th century. These slaves were subjected to trances and demonic possessions. They were subjected to all types of perverse magical rituals. The Kabbalah teaches intercourse with demons. Theurgy is the skill or ability to invoke demons, variously called angels of light, genie, spirits of various kinds, such as elemental spirits. Demons come with a price, and that price is blood. Satanism and Luciferianism and other similar cults are blood cults that require blood to be sacrificed to pull in certain demons. For instance, a blood may be taken from both the tongue and the genital area, mixed in a certain ceremony to invoke a particular demon. Demons are not bought with gold or silver, they are bought with blood. Some spirits are invoked by placing alcoholic enemas into the child. Yikes. These children get totally...
Do you remember on the news for maybe like 10 years ago now, but there was like this resurgence of kids putting tampons in vodka and then putting the vodka soaked tampon up their butt? You didn't hear about this?
No.
That's
And it was a way that they could
thing?
get drunk and their breath wouldn't smell. So if they got pulled over, if their parents were like, let me smell your breath, you wouldn't be able to smell the alcohol because they had basically stuck it up their...
I've never been that desperate to drink or be drunk.
It was a thing, man, for a while there.
To shove something in to be drunk? What?
But I guess the point was that whoever told them that was actually tricking them into summoning demons.
Well, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Right?
Yes. Okay, so again, he kind of has this mind control and demon sort of thing. So does Fritz, where does Fritz stand? Are these demons like a cult, or is this just like another name for...
No, we're talking real demons here. This is not like an occult stand-in. Like they are actually summoning demons.
Yo, so hold on. So okay, I keep reading. This is crazy. I don't want to keep reading this stuff anymore. So is Fritz Springmeier is he a Christian or what is he?
I think he counts as an evangelical Protestant, but which is a very broad stroke, but it basically means that you are an evangelist and that he's a Protestant, which is just like anti-Catholic essentially. So when you combine those two, I don't know if you can pinpoint them down into any smaller denomination. The exact same thing of Jack Chick, where like Jack Chick, you couldn't really pin down his specific type of denomination, but you knew for sure he was not a Catholic because he was like anti-Jesuit, and that he wasn't necessarily Orthodox.
Look at who it is. Look at what the cat dragged in.
Hey, speaking of cats, on that same page, he talks about animal sacrifice, where he says that there's something called a baptism to Satan, and that's when you cut open a horse or a jackal, and then you put a child inside of it, and you baptize it in its blood.
That's what Tom Green did, right?
And isn't that a Star Wars thing too?
What?
Yeah, in the beginning of Star Wars, number 3, I think,
What?
or 2. Empire Strikes Back.
What?
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back, where he crawls inside of the body of some animal. So
Yeah,
he
I've
can
seen that.
survive over
The
the night.
snowstorm. Yeah.
You got to stay warm. It was cold.
But that exact process, and I think that's probably where Fritz might have gotten part of this, or maybe that's where George Lucas got it originally. But it was called a baptism to Satan, and that's when you basically put a baby inside of a dead animal.
That's crazy.
And then do what?
You baptize it.
A satanic baptismal ritual practiced by modern Satanists used to invoke. Yikes. All right. Whatever, dude. All right. What else you got?
We already mentioned this one about a twin in the womb for twice the spiritual power. That was the one in Elvis.
Yep.
Here's some other ones that bloodline was also hidden among the Amish, and that one of them in particular, which he doesn't name, but he says that they work in Portland, Oregon, and they work for the federal government. So I feel like since he was raised Amish, Fritz like knew someone personally, and he was outing a very specific person when he said that. Here's another one that on page 447, he says, this comes from the Men Who Stare at Goats style research. He says the U.S. Army has a First Earth Battalion with psychic warrior monks that throw energy balls and do blood sacrifices, and that 12 psychics in one room can guide missiles which are fired. And that's actually backed up by, again, I think was it John Ronson, who wrote The Men Who Stare at Goats, and it had the whole movie about it. But it was about an actual program that they actually did consider themselves psychic warrior monks, and it was also called First Earth Battalion. That's all real.
Dude, what? All right. And then
Have you never heard any of this before? This is one of my favorite stories.
no, bro. Some elite units of warrior monks who can fight with both martial arts and psychic warfare. Of course, they picked the elite. And then it goes here. So you got Michael Aquino in here, Monarch Slaves. And then it goes, upper level martial arts involves the use of the occult. The ninja are one of the few groups who openly realize that their martial art power comes from demonic powers. A half crow / half man spirit empowers them. The samurai would kill a ninja because they use witchcraft and warfare, but the samurai and many other magical arts also use occult powers, which are actually different forms of witchcraft and demonology, even though they don't recognize it as such. Dude, what?
So even the samurais are using demonic forces. They don't even realize, and they're using their demonic forces to fight the ninjas' demonic forces.
Because their demonic force is the good demonic force, and the other guy's demonic force is the bad one.
Well,
So-
they don't have Jesus, so they don't realize that all of them are demonic forces. They think there's a good and a bad.
That's
Bro,
one of my
if-
that's one of
if
my
you've never
favorite
looked it up
Jesus is the
before-
samurai Jesus, bro.
The First Earth Battalion is an entire rabbit hole, and I think the way that John Ronson describes it, and in the movie and in the book of Men Who Stare at Goats, it's that at Vietnam there were a bunch of soldiers that had clear shots of the enemy Viet Cong, and when they try to shoot the Viet Cong, most of the soldiers like shot high, like they missed them, and they all claimed they were trying to hit them, and then the misses were accidents, but these were like sharpshooters and guys that had marksman badges.
This is a real thing?
There's a real thing. There's a real thing. So the military was like, hey, we need to figure out why our soldiers are like missing on purpose, because we can't have a war where our soldiers are shooting at the enemy and our soldiers are shooting high on purpose because subconsciously they don't want to kill anybody. So the long story short of the First Earth Battalion was that if we train all of our soldiers that we are all one and that you are the same as your enemy, then now they won't feel as bad about the enemy, because it's like, oh, or I'm just going to send them back to like the central energy that I come from anyways, right? So it kind of like removes the moral and the ethical reservations that you have from, because if we are all one, then I'm just sending you back to source.
Oh, dude, this even links to the Knights Templar. So warrior monk or monk soldier is an established expression derived from Bernard of Clairvaux, used to designate members of military and hospitaller religious orders, primarily the Knights Templar. So they were brainwashed, right? Like, hey, you're fighting for Jesus. You're not fighting for, well, probably not Jesus, right? Or was it Jesus?
Yeah, no, First Earth Battalion was way more new. It was like theosophical kind of. It was like,
yeah, New
but
Age.
instead of becoming an ascended master because you read a bunch of books, this is like you become an ascended master and then you can people without any sort of karmic debt, I guess.
Yeah, but they're essentially brainwashing these people. Like they're making them think a certain way so that they go out there and they like that's what it is.
Yeah, you just say the military too. That's kind of the whole point of the military. It's literally what boot camp is about.
I mean, would you say that's like what nationalism is? Like, hey, my country, thank you for all those that fight for our freedoms. Yet they're like just slaying people and people like overseas, like some farmer somewhere, and they're just blowing them up.
Unless you watch the Cult Book Club regularly, and then you are completely immune from all of the programming. So good on you.
Yes. Oh my.
Here's another one. He claims on the next page, on page 449, that the CIA has already mapped every psychic capable brain in America. And this is in 1996 when he says this.
I believe it.
He says the Frankenstein was a real Illuminati experiment, and that the Rothschilds have carried out the successful production of synthetic people for centuries.
Does he mention homunculus at all in this?
Well, you saw that he mentioned a golem.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, all right. Hold on.
He's talking about Moonchild.
Preparation of children by spiritual preparations. Okay, the Moonchild. Okay, so this is a sign, Thomas. I have to talk about the Moonchild. On page 107 to 108 of Moonchild, the idea expressed to produce a man who should not be bound up by his heredity and should have the environment which they desire for him. This perfect soul in a proper person is called the homunculus. The magical work upon which this is based is said to be derived from Bacon, Albertus Magnus, and Paracelsus, who were all reported in occult circles to have captured souls and placed them in brass statues. So, the Hittites and the people of Asia Minor and Syria have long sought the ability to create a superman and woman. Huh.
He says too that that it was called a butterfly net. That's what you would use to create a Moonchild. Is that you're trying to capture like a soul basically in a butterfly net.
I think we covered this on the first part of this episode. I think we talked.
Because that's where he brings the homunculus up originally.
Yeah. Okay, now it's making sense. It's all coming back, dude.
So you jumped ahead of one of the fun ones, which is that monarch slaves run on Unix operating system because of the secret beast ID codes. He says that a single CIA hypnotist programmed both Sirhan and the Boston Strangler, a guy named William J. Bryan, who also consulted on the Manchurian Candidate book about. So he says that Joseph Mengele, a famous Nazi scientist, was at the Texas Book Depository for the JFK assassination.
What page is that?
Page 538. And Fritz on this page claimed, this is a direct quote. He says, a sworn affidavit exists where a man connects Joseph Mengele with Kennedy's death.
Is it towards the end here?
If you just do a search for depository, I'm sure it'll show up.
I'm on the page here. So right here. Here it is. So, in fact, the Vermont, Texas Enterprise on Monday, April 10th, 94, and the Metro Sec B on page B, continued to 4B, reports that a sworn affidavit exists where a man connects Joseph Mengele with Kennedy's death and to have seen Mengele at the Texas Book Depository.
So there you go. I mean, if I don't see a reproduction of that article, but he's claiming that that's the article, that Beaumont, Texas Enterprise, Monday, April 10th, 1994. I wonder how hard that would be to track down. That would be a pretty interesting one if we could find it.
So, I mean, the timelines, he'd be really old, though, if he was actually there to try and shoot him.
Well, not if he could live forever because he had demonic bone juice that he's been drinking.
So there is the Beaumont Enterprise. You can find the archives, but I mean, we would need to do some digging to find that.
Here's a list of TV, movies, and music and stuff that he makes claims of in this book. So he says that here are the TV shows that were used for Monarch programming for the masses: Batman, Bewitched, E.T., shout out Banana,
Shout out
Love Boat, And that the show Love Boat specifically was mind control for cruise prostitutes. His words, not mine. That's directly out of the book.
That what was? I'm sorry.
You ever heard of the show called The Love Boat?
The Love Boat.
It was it was definitely before even my time, but it was like 1960s or 70s or something.
Oh yes,
and it was
yes,
about
yes.
a cruise ship, I think, and people just it was like like a rom-com on a cruise ship, but it was like an ongoing series. Well, Fritz says that TV show Love Boat was literally mind control for cruise prostitutes. So basically, beta kitten programming.
Yeah.
He also said that the TV show My Fair Lady was, quote, a finishing school for slaves. So I guess when you were getting to the end of your Monarch programming, then you would watch My Fair Lady to teach you, I guess, like how to put the right forks on either side of the plate where the sacrifice is going to go.
Yeah, dude, I just can't help but think about how much of all this is code, right? And it does seem like a lot of it is encoded, where when he talks about like, oh, now they watch this or now they watch that or whatever it is, like almost to activate it. But then how would he know all this stuff, right? How would
a lot of the information that Fritz gets also comes from John Todd. It comes from Kathy O'Brien. It comes from some of the other people that we mentioned. John Todd was one of the first ones that started talking about the entertainment industry. And he's the one that claimed that before a record label signs a big artist and before they go gold or platinum, they have to sign away their soul to the devil and blood and all that stuff. Like those claims came from John Todd.
Gotcha.
And I think that's kind of what Fritz is building some of his claims on top of. But he goes in. It's like, for example, Fritz on page 339, he says that the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie is a documentary, that it's not a movie, and that he says that video stores, this is a quote from it, video stores have a hard time meeting customer demands, and that there's a girl who's watched Labyrinth at least 20 times. And I guess this was like when it came out, so it was a big deal. But he's saying that this is not just an entertainment film, that this is sort of soft disclosure.
19. Have you seen that movie?
Labyrinth?
Oh, yeah.
Labyrinth is a classic, man.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that too. And also the other one. What's the other one? The Dark Crystal. That's another one that kind of seems like that too, right?
But Labyrinth is about an underage girl that gets lured into a big labyrinth-style castle by a weird transgender guy and an owl that turns into an owl. So I've heard references to like Bohemian Grove. Fritz doesn't make that connection, but he probably should have. He also says, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Videodrome. It's a Cronenberg film.
Yeah,
but
it sounds familiar.
He says Videodrome is a training video for Monarch slaves, and that the phrase "come to Mickey" is said 3 times, along with "long live the new flesh," and that this apparently is supposed to be related to programming from Michael Aquino directly.
Yeah, this is a weird one here. I've never seen this one actually, but I've heard about it. I think you've told me about it.
Yeah, this one's worth a watch.
And then the other one was the Labyrinth. Yeah, I've definitely seen this. I saw it a long time ago. I don't remember any of it, but yeah, I've definitely seen it.
And the whole song about Labyrinth is what? The Power of the Babe, where he kidnaps a small baby, and he brings him into the basement of his castle, and he's going to use the energy of this baby. I don't know. It feels like it does line up with what was the claim of like the Mother Castle or whatever that Fritz was
Mothers
talking
of Darkness,
about.
yeah.
Like the whole premise of Labyrinth is that this guy steals a baby and he's going to do something to the baby in this castle.
Yikes.
He says that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was used to build an internal Atlantis for clones. So like the movie, when they made the set for the movie, that the world of Atlantis they were using to house clones in. That was on page 298. He also says that Jimi Hendrix was weaponized, and the quote was, "You can hypnotize people with music, and when you get them at their weakest point, you can preach into their subconscious whatever you want to say." And this was, I think, a quote from Jimi Hendrix. So Fritz is using that as an example of like Jimi Hendrix knew what the secret order was. And then the other music related one, this is a really good one. Page 542, he says that the NSA orders has hidden orders baked inside newspaper wanted ads and Michael Jackson's hand poses, and that when Michael Jackson shows 2 forefingers, it means that the message is a Masonic message that's meant for the Masons.
So have you heard of what do they call it? The dog comms or something like that, where allegedly they talk to each other on the, like, how you're saying, the news, where they come up with like, there's like these weird, like, I know for when Joe Biden was president, it was like Joe Biden's dog bites somebody else again or something like that. You remember
Right.
that?
It's a form of like mockingbird, essentially.
Yeah, like that's always, I've heard that conspiracy before, and I mean, I'm sure anything is possible at this point, dude. Like from all the stuff that we've read and we've looked into.
Well, it would make the most sense if it was literally a message for sleeper celled mind control victims, right? Like, because if I knew I needed to send a message to a certain person, I would just send them a message. But if I didn't know who my message was for, that's when you would put it on the media and TV and newspapers.
Yeah, and there was a time where they were scared about sleeper cells. You remember that? When the whole thing with Iran and everything was popping off, they're like, hey, you know, there's going to be sleeper cells that are going to get activated here in the United States. Cause
yeah, they don't sleep anymore. They just move directly to Minnesota and call it a day. They don't even have to like sleep anymore. They're awake the second that they hit the border.
So again, that's just, it's interesting to like how much of it is actually like legit, and wouldn't knowing a lot of this stuff be a crime? You know, like.
Would knowing it be a crime?
Well, like, you know, like the people who say that they've seen, and it's like, oh, so you've seen like an illegal film that's online.
I don't think that's illegal though, that you've seen it, because someone could just be like, hey, look at this, and then if you're watching now if you had possession of it at some point, now maybe we're getting into some legal gray area.
Wasn't there some underage thing there as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, and I honestly, I think that a lot of
Hold on, Donut. Say bye, bro, before you go.
Yeah, see, don't just Irish exit. Here we go.
All right, I gotta go.
Oh, you're good, bro. Yeah,
you gotta go hit that Illuminati toilet.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Just like what Charles Manson said. I gotta go.
Yeah, I love you, dude. Thanks for coming on, bro.
I love you so much.
I'm so happy that you're back.
Yeah, dude.
I'll see you soon. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I've got the perfect segue for him too, since he was talking about Illuminati toilets. And we were just talking about essentially, right, if it was illegal to see some of these things. On page 401, Fritz talks about something called porcelain face programming. And this, I tell you, man, this is the conspiracy predicted in 1996. So he says that this is chapter 10, page 401, porcelain face programming, that human baby skin is used. And he says that skin from a baby is used to make a mask that forms a victim's facial cast. And then the Illuminati victim wears that mask during a mock marriage to the Antichrist. And then that mask that's used in this Antichrist marriage ceremony is also connected to Camelot and Shakespeare programming, which he calls.
Another use of the porcelain mask, which was only experimented with, was to place the mask on pawn altars, which were used as altars that would guard things by scaring other altars with their fearful porcelain countenances. This programming has spiritual ramifications because it is one of the programming methods to steal altars of their faces. The altars getting porcelain face program will only see a porcelain face in the mirror until the programming is taken down. As long as the computer on their level is operating, the programming to that altar will be intact.
You get what he's saying there is that an altar, he can, through this programming, where they take a baby's skin and they turn it into a mask and you wear the mask, that will prevent your altar or your alternate personality from being able to recognize itself in a mirror. and when it looks in a mirror, it just sees a porcelain mask because the visual of baby skin on your face is so horrendous to consider that your mind blocks it out and it replaces it with a porcelain mask. And that's part of this programming. So now if you can't even see yourself in a mirror and you can't look at your own face, now you don't have to face yourself and you can do all kinds of horrific things.
Yeah. It makes sense. No, and like,
of course it makes sense. Yeah, of course it does.
No, because this seems like some deep level psychological, almost Jungian, like, programming of, if these people are able to make people do this sort of stuff and believe it for real, I mean, they can make anyone think anything. I mean, look at I brought up Benowitz, or was it who was the UFO guy that they were feeding him information? It was a Benowitz, right? Tim Benowitz, something like that.
Sure. I don't pay attention to the alien stuff as much.
Well, they made him believe that he had tapped into like some secret communication with the government, all this stuff. He ended up offing himself, and it was actually like some people from the government just feeding him information.
Oh, you talking about David Wilcock?
No, not David. No, not David Wilcock. No, Benowitz, one of the first guys in the UFO movement, bro.
Well, this one about the skin mask, you're like, oh, who's gonna believe crazy stuff? But like, this was what Ed Gein did, the first American serial killer, essentially, or one of the first. He made masks out of people's skin.
This guy right here. Oh, I'm sorry. So you're saying that who are you talking about?
The skin mask again. Fritz Springmeier doesn't. I mean, I need to be careful how I say this, because what I want to say is he doesn't just make stuff up, because like maybe he does make some stuff up, but it's based on other things that have actually happened. So even though this sounds crazy, like who the hell is going to take someone's face and turn it into a mask? Well, Ed Gein did, and a few other people have also done things like this. So he just kind of like puts his own little spin on it, where now it's a baby skin.
Yeah, and who knows if a lot of these serial killers were part of like some M stuff, right? Like that's a conspiracy too. Like if you look at Jeffrey Dahmer, and I know we've talked about it before, but Jeffrey Dahmer and all these guys, like they were operating under the nose of the CIA or any three-letter agency, and they got away with it for a while just to maybe where they could study what they were doing, and then they just kind of let them do their own thing until they get caught, and then that's that, right? I mean,
it makes me think of whenever you see one of those documentaries and they're like, oh no, wait, don't disturb that gorilla. This is the first time that we've ever observed it doing this behavior in the wild, right? So like you can't disturb it while it's doing this thing. It's our only chance to see how it's going to react.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what these agencies do to these Unabombers and serial killers, whatever. It's like, oh, we can't disturb them in their natural habitat. We have to see, let's just let nature take its course and take notes.
Yeah,
so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Here we're winding down a little bit. I got one or two other good ones. This is another specific claim that Fritz makes. I don't know if I have the page number for this one handy, but he says that a passage from Frank Baum's Ozma of Oz, which is not the same as Wizard of Oz, but it's the same land of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is named after Ozma. And in Ozma of Oz, a book from 1907, there's a line from the Hungry Tiger. And the Hungry Tiger specifically says, a fat baby, I want a fat baby. So he's talking about he wants to eat a baby, essentially. And spoiler alert, he doesn't eat the baby because in the book, he has some sort of moral code that prevents him from eating the baby. But what Fritz Springmeier does is he says that they use this for what they call Hungry Tiger programming that came from the Oz books, and that when they give you Hungry Tiger programming, this will make you want to eat a person or eat a baby.
So you think Dahmer and them got the fat tiger treatment, the fat tiger programming?
Well, Dahmer didn't eat babies. He ate like middle-aged
he said people.
Homosexual men.
Yeah.
I don't know why you laughed. Is that funny?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
All right.
Because they're gay. Get it? No?
Right, yeah, sure.
All right, whatever.
So he's talking about how it is already part of like the satanic panic aspect. So what Fritz does is he shows you how a children's fantasy book basically turns that into like a programming ritual for the monarchs.
Which, again, I mean, I feel like he takes, because we've been able to prove some of the things that he's talked about, right? And how you're saying he kind of takes these things that kind of sort of line up with it, and then he kind of just changes a little bit. Maybe he's taking inspiration, or it actually happened, or something's going on. You get what I'm saying?
Also, okay, we're getting to the end of this. So here's the formula that I think I've put together with exactly what Fritz kind of does. And I mean, this isn't boiled down, so maybe I'm missing some steps, but there's like 5 different steps. So the first thing is that you start with a known story, a fact, a celebrity name, like something known. And then on top of that, you interpret it through like this conspiracy framework, where in Fritz's framework, everything's monarch or mind control slave. So now you've got something familiar, factual, interpret it through this conspiracy. Then you add the all favorite anonymous insider, the satanic survivor, the occult authority, like some person that you're not going to give credit to. And then you basically have an entire narrative which has authority to it because you've got an insider. And then at the very end, the very last little ingredient that Fritz does is he adds these very specific details, like, and Madonna's tape can be bought for $19 from Vidimax at this address, or whatever. Like those very specific. Or what was the other one where he said that in the bottom of that castle they generate 6 different monarch slaves every 3 days, right? Like those very specific things are things you can Google now, and they'll just all bring you right back to Fritz's work, but you won't find like where did that specific claim about 6 every 3 days, like that kind of thing. That is like trademark Fritz Springmeier. So when you see those specific claims added on to the end, and I think that that's maybe what a lot of conspiracies are missing today, right? When someone comes out with something, it's always like this extra vague stuff, and they're never saying like, and we're pumping out like 3 demons every 72 hours.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying. Like I said, he's got like this framework to it, to where it kind of vaguely sounds familiar, but then it's got his own little touch on it. Because a lot of the stuff that, again, and this was you got to understand when this was. This was 96, right? You said 96 or 98?
I think 96, because he cited a couple books in here from 94. So I think that this came out in 96, maybe.
So imagine reading this in 96, bro.
I did. I read it in 98 at the very latest is when I read this thing.
Well, you're a lot older than I am. How old were you, bro? You're like 18 or something?
No, I was like probably 15. I don't think I could drive yet, which is why I was reading random books on the internet. The second that I could drive, I think I stopped reading books for the rest of my life.
That seems like a pretty heavy read, bro. At that age.
It was a pretty heavy read. This was me going from, X-Files, that's cool. Unsolved Mysteries, that's cool. Bigfoot. And then like, oh, this sounds cool. This is about conspiracies. And now I'm reading about babies summoning demons through their anus using vodka.
So it says here it was 96 self-published. So, and Cisco Wheeler, who's that guy?
I think it's a female that he collaborated with, and I believe that she did some of the visuals or something. I don't remember exactly what her involvement was on this. I remember talking to someone that claimed to be related to Cisco Wheeler.
Yeah, she said, "Behold the pale white horse," too. Or had something to do with that. She's still around. Doesn't look like she is. Maybe.
I think they're both still around.
Yeah, I know. I think she is. Did she write a Behold the Pale White Horse? No.
No. Behold the Pale White Horse is William Cooper. Or yeah, right?
Not according to this. It says here. Unless this is. Oh, hold on.
According to what? What demonic AI are you talking to? No, no way.
Celis, follow the author Celis.
That's Behold a White Horse, not Behold a Pale White Horse.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, right. Behold the Pale White Horse is William Cooper.
You're right. All right. So
I'm curious, based on everything that we've talked about and all the pages that we've brought up and everything you've read out of this book, if someone was like, Oh, cool. Someone recommended that I read this Fritz Springmeier book. What's it about? Like, how would you summarize what this book's about?
Again, I'm not going to call it a grimoire because it's not a grimoire, but it's a manual on how the Illuminati create undetectable mind-controlled slaves.
But isn't a grimoire a manual on how to summon demons? Isn't that essentially what a grimoire is?
A grimoire, yes, is a magical instructional book on how to do
how to summon demons.
Yes, and this is technically, it's pretty much telling you straight up. I mean, by you explaining it, you're kind of sort of telling how to do it. So is this book creating more harm than good? Because again, we go back to the Liber Vacay where people are reading this and they go, "Hey, I kind of want to do this too." So what do I have to do here? Oh, they do this and this, and then they have the donkey and they have the goat and they have the goat named Satan, and then they have this other stuff and they do what? Huh.
So he's open sourcing it, you could say.
Yeah, which I don't know. Is Fritz part of the Illuminati?
Well, not if you want him to come on the show anytime soon.
I mean, I'll ask him straight up, bro. Like, this is some heavy stuff. This is some black belt stuff. So
this is legitimately what interests me so much about Fritz is like he was so ahead of the curve on this. If you think it sounds crazy now, imagine saying this in 1994, 1996, and then publishing it, because these are the type of claims that have been repeated so often. And then you find out that Fritz isn't even the one that came up with a lot of this. He's just kind of documenting it. And I guess maybe not a grimoire. I would call this like an instruction manual or like a technical guide or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. So if somebody asks, it's gonna be like, "Hey, it's a manual on how to be wicked and sick," and then it's got a whole bunch of interesting offshoots and tangents in there, mixed all in together with a whole bunch of other stuff, like the Madonna stuff. Did he need to include that? Did he need to include the Billy Graham stuff? Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that is a lot of, it's almost like a dictionary, right?
But like the Billy Graham, I think that was the hardest one for me to wrap my head around when I first read this, because again, it's like I don't know who the hell Billy Graham is and I don't care, but the fact that he was one of the nation's largest evangelical,
he was huge at that time,
celebrities. He was huge, and he was huge in that he was supposed to have been bringing thousands of people to Christ. But Fritz is basically saying, like, all those people that he was claiming to save, he was bringing them directly to Satan. He was bringing them to the devil. And that was being backed by William Hearst and by Henry Luce of Skull and Bones. And then it's like, okay, that all sounds crazy.
Which is shady.
For the fact that he was promoted by Hearst and by Henry Luce, and Henry Luce was in the Skull and Bones,
which is shady.
Like, if all of these other things that he's saying are accurate, and then the last thing that he says at the very end, if you're like, whoa, that's a little too crazy, but it's like, but we just agree that the first 5 crazy things he said are all true, then maybe I'm willing to give a little bit of extra leeway on that last thing that he says.
Well, and also, how many people in 96 were able to jump on Google and fact check every single thing that he was saying? Like, oh, Luce and this other guy, like, they were probably believing the whole thing, right? Like, that's how a conspiracy theory starts. They present it, and then people just start spreading it like a rumor. And imagine how many people couldn't fact check everything in 96, how we were doing today. We're literally picking through the different things and then just pulling it up. The 96 Olympics hadn't happened yet, right? Or maybe they had happened right at 96 when it came out. We had the whole video and everything there, like seeing it after the fact, right? Hindsight's 2020, but
and they're all wearing the genuflect masks. Yeah, it's really hard to like laugh and giggle and be like, oh, Fritz was such a crazy, paranoid conspiracy theorist, and then the genuflect book comes to life on the screen.
The undying sun just comes out, front row seat, just like, oh.
It's like, oh, they're not summoning demons, and then like as that's happening, it's like, oh my god, okay, maybe they are summoning demons.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's definitely super weird and bizarre. And
I actually think that that's one of the most interesting insights that we did for covering this, is that this is a literal grimoire. It's
I
a
think so.
grimoire written in 1996, and the author knows what the Unix operating system is, so it obviously doesn't sound like some medieval sort of like John Dee style grimoire, but it feels like a grimoire nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think I said that the first time around too, where again, if it's a manual on how to do something and it involves the occult, it's a grimoire. And my boy came, he put together a manual on how to do it, and some people are going to take it to heart. And a lot of these people who are in the occult, and I think a lot of even serial killer, like look at Dahmer, right? He was into the occult too. He's like making an altar and all this craziness too. You ever hear about that? He was like creating an altar he never finished. He had, like,
unfinished altar, but yeah, in like the living room, he had a table set around, and there was what a lot of reports say satanic books. I think one of them was like the Satanic Bible by LaVey or something. But that, yeah, he was dabbling in the dark arts.
And think about it, bro. That dude was straight up people. Like he was doing like the top of the top thing that you're supposed to not do. Like, right? Like he was already doing it. So he's like, might as well put it to good use. Let's go ahead and do an altar to Asmodeus here and give a real sacrifice,
I feel like he was experimenting. Like he was experimenting to see if he could summon demons or if there was like a satanic angle to this. He was experimenting with which parts of the body he could eat, which parts would preserve the longest. Like everything that this dude, like even if you go back to when he was a kid, all the warning signs were there, right? He was basically like dissecting animals, like live animals, and got into taxidermy as like a child. And his parents, his like dad, like encouraged it, like, yeah, you could be a little miniature taxidermist. Why not? There's no, like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
And then he ends up turning into, Jeffrey Dahmer after all of that.
Yeah, and he was still a loser after all that stuff. He did all that. He was still a loser, nobody. And was he was. How did he die? Did he suffer?
He died in prison. I believe he first converted. He got saved in prison, became a follower of Christ, and I believe he got stabbed or bludgeoned with a broom handle or something.
So yeah, happened during unsupervised work detail in the prison gymnasium. Scabbard attacked Dahmer in a staff locker using a metal bar from the prison to inflict fatal head wounds. Dahmer was 34 years old, serving 15 consecutive life sentences for 16. And so, did he accept Christ? Jeffrey Dahmer, did he accept Christ? Because at least even Jeffrey Dahmer knew at the end of it all, none of this matters. And yes, Jeffrey Dahmer professed his faith in Jesus Christ and was baptized in prison May of 1994, several months before he was. All right, so good for him. At least he repented. He was seeking salvation, because even after all the bullshit he did, he found out like, hey, you know what? There's only one thing left, and that's God, right? So at least
could you imagine you die and you go to heaven, and the person that welcomes you to heaven is Jeffrey Dahmer. He's like, hey bud, welcome. It's great up here.
Yeah, go over and head to the left and to the right. Yeah, definitely, bro. So I mean, look, even Jeffrey Dahmer, after all that, he knew there was only one answer, right? So I think this is a grimoire, bro, and that's why it's very detailed, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
So I recommend that if you ever want to just jump directly into the deep, if you just heard about like a weird conspiracy theory and you're like, I want to just go into the deep end right now and not have to wait for it, this is the book. This is the book that you want to read. Illuminati Formula for Creating an Undetectable Mind Control Slave by Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler.
Yes, it does go hard in the paint, and yeah, it's a hard read sometimes, right? Because there's a lot of stuff in there, but definitely, I wouldn't recommend it for just anybody, but I mean, if you want to, I would, and go ahead. So, yeah, bro, that was it. Part 2, how the Illuminati create undetectable mind control slaves. Check out part 1. We did it. What is it, like 2 years ago now?
47 years and 33 days.
47 years and 33 days to the T. Make sure to check that out. I'll link it in the description. Thomas, you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
Dude, I want to plug the first occult book club book. It's called The Lamp of Diogenes. This is a book that was actually written by the Illuminati founder, Adam Weishaupt, like 10 or 15 years after he was exiled. and it was originally written in German blackletter, which was a huge pain in the ass to translate. Not only did I translate it here, but I even translated all the quotes that he puts in the book, and he even misattributed a lot of the quotes. Like he would attribute a quote to someone that it wasn't actually belonged to. So I even did all of that research and added all of the little like footnotes at the bottom. Like it is a legit research book that breaks down basically his entire thinking of like, if you were to found the Illuminati and you had all these people running the world for you, and then it all fell apart and you got kicked out and exiled, these are his memoirs. And a lot of it's just like how dumb people are and how unreliable people are, and you can't trust anybody. Like it's written by a guy that just got kicked out of his own secret society. So I think it's fascinating.
What a loser.
It's never been made in English before. Like there was one Freemason reading club that published this, I think like 6 or 7 years ago, but they only made 100 copies, and all the reviews I've read on that small release said that there was like translation issues and all sorts of problems with it. So I believe this is probably the definitive version, and it's literally published by Occult Book Club. Look, there it is, proof. We've got our own little stamp and everything. So hopefully more to come. The next one that I want to put out is the one that we read, the voyage to Cartesius, the Cartesian voyage. That one is impossible to read. Even if you know how to read Old English, it's just such a pain. Like you remember reading that thing. It was not easy.
I had not enjoyed it at all.
I want to rewrite that in modern English and say like no capping, for real. All like skibbity toilet. I'm going to put all of those phrases in it just so like the new generation can read about what is it, the guy that the dogs, I'm blanking on his name, Rene Descartes.
Yeah, that book is such a trip, dude. That story is, I think that's real. I think that story is real. I think it was, and it like fills in all the holes of how he died and all this other stuff. It's the what? Yeah, check. How long was that episode?
That was like 3 hours or something. That was the book from the 1650s. And you know what's crazy is I just recently had a conversation with Frater RC, who mentioned that Edward Key strongly believes that the red powder that Edward Kelly had was DMT or some sort of DMT derivative, which is exactly what this book in the 1650s says, the exact same thing. But it wasn't talking about Edward Kelly. It was talking about Francis Bacon, that Francis Bacon had access to this red dust, and that this was whatever Rene Descartes also had access to.
Bro, we did that 3 years ago, and it was 3.5 hours long. And then we did the box saga. That was 5.5 hours long, dude.
I really want to do a box saga comic, but I feel like it's just so niche that not enough people would get it or even look for it. But I really want to. Like, before I die, I want to make a box saga illustrated. Here's the official story beginning to end.
I mean, what's stopping you, bro?
Laws in most countries that would probably make it illegal to illustrate like
obscene
90% of the things that your box says.
Yeah, true.
Like
true.
Here, page 1. Okay, here I am being taught the English language by my mom. You're immediately going to jail.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, maybe skip that one, dude. Definitely do a voyage to the world of Cartesius. What a man, dude. What a great. I'm gonna read that book again.
If you want to see that book and more, definitely go and check out Lamp of Diogenes. Make sure it's the Occult Book Club edition, not some BS AI translated nonsense. This is one that I've been working on for
a long time,
at least 3 years. And then when me and Donut came out with the Illuminati comic 2 years ago already, that was when I like earnestly started working on this. So it's been like 2 years of hiring multiple translators and like formatting this thing to get it into a legit state. So it's legit. This is like a real book.
Nice. And where can people find that?
It'll be on Amazon. I'll probably have some copies that I'll order and I'll sign. I'll put on the site, but just go to Amazon, search for Lamp of Diogenes or Adam Weishaupt.
Yeah, and if you want the special edition ones
design
with his anal print on it, those will be on the Patreon only, and those will be about
it'll be in the back cover. Yeah, we'll do an anal print right there.
$333, something like that. So that'll be a scratch and sniff edition. You can scratch it.
You won't even have to scratch it. You'll be able to smell it without scratching it.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, bro. This was it's good to be back, and we'll see what we do for the next one. Maybe some people can recommend some books, or maybe we got a couple. We got a couple in the chamber. Well, we want to talk about TT a little bit. Maybe we'll do something on Patreon with that. Maybe
TT.
I've read almost all of them, if not all of them. So we can go from there. But we'll figure it out. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, follow, whatever. You know what? Leave a review or not. Who cares? See ya. You want to plug anything else, Thomas?
That's it.
All right. Bye.